Brady has more rings, but to do it 3 times in a row, to have that type of consistency in a league where there's so much parity is truly tremendous. It will leave a legacy for Patrick Mahomes that I don't think we'll see touched anytime soon.
Yeah, it's so very impressive to see what he's done. The 5th Super Bowl, and he hasn't turned 30 years old yet. So it's just incredible what he's done. Jen, anything else, any predictions, anything else that you're looking forward to for this game before I let you go?
From a coaching perspective, yeah. I am very curious to watch Andy Reid versus this defense, Vic Fangio for the Eagles. The Eagles defense, they were bottom of the league last year. Vic Fangio has done a fantastic job turning it around. They entered the postseason as the #1 defense in the NFL. Andy Reid, of course, just a phenomenal offensive mind. I think that chess match for folks who truly love the game, that's going to be a fantastic one to watch. And for offensively, Kellen Moore with the Eagles, I think he's got to help Jalen Hurts get some quick passes out. He's got to get the calls in sooner. That was a glaring weak spot for the Eagles this year. So I'm very curious to see how Kellen revs that passing game just enough, again, to keep that Chiefs defense on it.
Yeah, and Kellen Moore might try to raise that Lombardi trophy and then just stay in New Orleans as reports coming in. So that would be a good sense.
Do you think
that'll be a factor at all? Because obviously that's the last real vacancy to be filled for the New Orleans Saints. Kellen Moore, all intents and purposes, is going to be named the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Do you think that weighs on him at all?
No. It's a business, and I think that coaches have gotten so good at compartmentalizing. You have to survive in this business. I'm sure he has that in a little tiny box, and he is dialed in just on today. And if indeed the Eagles do end up victorious, then what a celebration that he could come to his first head coaching job as a Super Bowl champion.
That is so very good. And they've had 2 weeks to prepare, so they're trying to got the interviews out of the way, some of those conversations out of the way. Maybe he's looking at houses this week. Who knows? There in New Orleans ahead of the Super Bowl.
I doubt it. I think
doubt
he is
it as well,
solely focused and dialed in on what's going to happen on the field today.
Yeah, the people around him maybe have a little bit more free time to dive into some of those things, look at the schools and whatnot. All right, Jen, thank you so much. Great job all week. Maybe get a nap in before the Super Bowl. You've earned it. We appreciate your time. Enjoy Super Bowl 59. And welcome back in here to a great conversation there with Jen Hale for this, the Super Bowl 59. The stage is set. You can see blue skies over top as players starting to filter into this arena, the Superdome there. Fans will won't be far behind, as we are just now almost exactly 4 hours until kickoff of Super Bowl 59. I'm Andy Mack. We're back after this. Live now from Fox. We just saw President Trump aboard Air Force One as he will depart, going wheels up for New Orleans, as he will be the first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl. You can see there getting the stairs out of the way as the plane will soon take off from Florida. Also a live picture there in New Orleans for this big game. We are now less than 4 hours out from Super Bowl 59. Let's take you out to a conversation I had with Rob Maaddi on hand for this one. It's kind of a Mardi Gras of sorts in the Big Easy. Let's listen in to my conversation. Back in here to Championship Sunday now is the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles. The countdown is on until this big game, and it's a rematch of a Super Bowl from just 2 years ago. And, of course, leading up to that Super Bowl, Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts said, quote, "I had a purpose before anybody had an opinion." No real big quotes from him this time, but he said that game, that 38-35 loss to Kansas City in Glendale, Arizona, lit a flame, lit a fire under him as he tries to enact a little bit of revenge to get back on the winning side of things. Of course, already making history to get back to this point, a rare feat for a quarterback to do. All right, let's bring into the conversation right now AP NFL senior writer, reporter here on Live Now from Fox, Rob Maaddi. Rob, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox on Football Sunday Now. What do you make of this matchup, this Super Bowl 59? Can the Eagles avenge that loss from a couple years ago?
Well, Andy, I finally got one right. I picked the Eagles and Chiefs back in the preseason to get to this point. I had the Eagles beating the Chiefs and preventing them from a three-peat back on August 30th, so I can't change my mind now. I have to stick with the Eagles, but they got a formidable challenge because this Kansas City Chiefs team is even better than I anticipated before the season started. Going through, losing only one game in which all their starters played, finding ways to win close games, the magic of Patrick Mahomes, the coaching of Andy Reid, the genius of defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. It's going to be a tough matchup for the Eagles, but I think they're up for the challenge. I've seen an Eagles team this week that's focused, that's on a mission. They got here 2 years ago and couldn't complete the job. They were close, and if not for a field goal at the end, and Jalen Hurts had a fumble earlier in the game, and he played an outstanding game that Sunday against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, but they got close. They didn't taste the victory. They didn't get to celebrate. They didn't hoist the Vince Lombardi trophy. And what's different from 2 years ago till now is the addition of Saquon Barkley. And I love what I've been hearing from Saquon throughout the playoffs up until now. He's like, my dream hasn't been to get here. My dream is to win the Super Bowl. So they know there's one more to go to finish the job. And it's going to be, this could be one of the all-time great Super Bowls. I was fortunate enough to cover the Eagles and Patriots back in the 41-33 game, and that was a back-and-forth 900-plus offensive yard team Super Bowls. I lost track. I think this one, Andy, could be one of the best of all time.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. And two matchups that we're talking about, and you mentioned Saquon is going to be best on best because Kansas City gives up the third fewest rushing yards to a running back this year. And we talked about it, how it was a good matchup for the Eagles in the NFC Championship game against the Washington Commanders. Is this, though, a bad matchup for the Eagles in terms of trying to run the ball, get that ground game going?
Andy, Steve Spagnuolo's defenses in the playoffs, 18 games have not allowed a 100-yard rusher. So Saquon's going to be attempting to become the first running back to get 100 yards against the Steve Spagnuolo defense. Now, other teams have been able to run a ball with a combination of two guys, so sometimes the stats are skewed. And I don't think the Eagles care if they win if Saquon gets 40 yards or 90 yards, or Kenny Gainwell gets 100 yards and Saquon gets 12. It doesn't matter as long as they're effectively running the football. But we've seen all season long, if Saquon's bottled up in the first quarter, second quarter, he can break loose for a 65, 70-yard run, and all of a sudden those numbers skyrocket. So it's a tough matchup. It's a tough challenge. I think the Kansas City Chiefs and Steve Spagnuolo, he's so creative, and his blitzes can be disguised so well. And we saw what he did with Josh Allen in the AFC Championship game, that 4th and 5, the corner blitz where Josh Allen couldn't pick it up in time, almost made the play. Dalton Kincaid drops the ball. It's going to be incumbent upon Jalen Hurts to be able to read that, to figure that out, to make the correct plays, to make the correct calls. But it's going to start with establishing the run, as it always is with this Eagles football team. And it's getting Saquon going. It's setting up the play action, opening up opportunities for A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. So this is like a genius on extremely smart, innovative, creative offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore, who may be probably in his last game because he seems ticketed for it. He might just stay here, right? Go to the parade if they win and come back to New Orleans as their head coach. So I'm really good to see the X's and O's, the matchups, the counter attacks, and how teams, how both sides really react to one another.
All right, and as we continue on, it's going to be a matchup of Goliath there with the Eagles and the Chiefs. And of course, we were talking about the quarterbacks, that being, let's flip sides now, the Eagles defense going up against the Kansas City Chiefs quarterback. And this Philadelphia team, they have faced three really good quarterbacks so far in Jordan Love, Matthew Stafford, and Jaden Daniels. What do we like about this matchup, and how do they slow down a perennial Super Bowl quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, Rob?
It's a tough challenge, Andy, and the best thing they can do is try and get after him. I think they can take advantage of the left side of Kansas City's offensive line. They have an all-pro guard in Joe Thuney playing tackle, a little bit out of position. He's done a great job, but with Brandon Graham coming back, edge rusher, fresh legs, maybe playing his last game, had a famous strip sack against Tom Brady to win a Super Bowl a few years ago. the Eagles have to find a way to make life uncomfortable for Patrick Mahomes. And the only time he's lost the Super Bowl is when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were able to do that 4 years ago. They were able to get after him. As much as we talk about Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski in that game, 2 touchdowns, 31-9 victory, it was the defense. It was JPP, Devin White, Levante David getting after Patrick Mahomes. It seemed like every time we looked up, he was running for his life in that game. And if the Eagles can apply some of that heat and take him off his game, that would be their best opportunity to slow him down. We've seen teams do that, Andy, and then he still finds a way in the fourth quarter to pull out a victory.
Yeah, we saw some of those plays there, like you mentioned, against the Bucs, where he went horizontal and he still almost made the play. So it was nearly a miraculous performance from him. And of course, let's talk about the bigger picture a little bit, because you were at the press conference for NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, and you were the one that asked the question. Although the data suggests otherwise, there is a perception, a reality out there on social media that the Chiefs get some favorable calls in some big games. He called it a ridiculous theory. What do you make of something that Goodell said earlier this week?
Andy, I agree with the ridiculous theory type of notion, because the amount of people who would have to be involved to do something like that. However, there's a perception, and the perception is because we've seen in recent history. I know the data doesn't suggest it. I know the data doesn't back it up, because the Chiefs are more penalized, and we can look at all those numbers. But you go back to the division round and the game against the Houston Texans, and there were 2 egregious calls roughing the passer against Patrick Mahomes. And those aren't my opinion. That's the broadcasting team of Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, who thought they were such. And then you look at the game against the Buffalo Bills and the fourth down sneak, and did Josh Allen get it or not? And then 2 different refs spotting the ball, or one thought the official thought it was here, and they went with, and it ended up not being. That's just a perception that people have. And we know how this grows from teams that continue to win. And there are fans out there who are upset. They're tired of it. There's a little bit of Chiefs fatigue. There's also the gambling component. Maybe people are angry and upset that they may have bet the Buffalo Bills, and they want to blame it on the officials and the referees. But I think what the commissioner said is pretty valid, that this is a league that has to hold itself up to the highest standards of integrity with so much going on. It's difficult for anything to be happening behind the scenes. But I'll tell you what, Andy, Sunday against the Eagles, there's going to be a call that goes one way or another. Some fans are going to like it. Some fans aren't. And the narrative will continue to roll.
Yeah, when there are close games, there are always those calls, and the Chiefs have won 17 straight one-possession games. So you know, like you said, there's going to be a call, a flag, either one way or the other, that is going to be talked about, that's going to be in the media quite a bit. All right, and I love the Super Bowl because it's always a meeting of the minds, of the NFL, of the football minds. Anything else from that Goodell press conference, the big takeaway? Obviously, the conversation about an 18-game season, the NFL going to Australia, plenty more. Anything else that you think people should know about?
I think the 18-game season, Andy, it seemed like inevitable earlier in the year when Roger Goodell talked about it at the NFL draft. And I was also at the NFLPA presser on Wednesday, and they kind of pushed back on that. Lloyd Howell, the executive director for the Players Union, said, I haven't spoken to one player at all who's in favor of an 18-game season. And some of this, Andy, is a negotiation tactic. Well, we have the CBA, and it's good through the 2030 season, so they're going to have to open it up to negotiate expanding the season. And if the NFL is going to try and insist upon an 18th game, well, the NFLPA, the Players Union, are going to seek a ton of concessions, a more revenue stream. They're going to ask for bye weeks, maybe expanded rosters. They're going to want something to show for playing an extra game, the toll it takes on their body, the health and safety discussion, everything else. So it may not be inevitable at this point. It's going to be open for conversation. And keep in mind, they haven't had any formal discussion. It's just they haven't sat down and said, let's start to collectively bargain this. Because as Lloyd Howe said, once we open up that CBA and they start talking about an 18th game, we're going to talk about all these other issues too that we want to correct, because he wasn't the executive director for the CBA when it was last finalized, for the one that's intact now. And there are some things in there that they want to get some more concessions. They want to get some more benefits for players nowadays.
Yeah, and you would imagine they don't want to be negotiating that in the public there ahead of the Super Bowl. So that's also a negotiation tactic to say that and keep it a little bit close to the vest. So we'll see what's coming. But that CBA far off, but also kind of just around the corner as we're already in 2025. Rob Maaddi, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Enjoy the Super Bowl. It's going to be a big one. Chiefs and Eagles from New Orleans. Welcome. Right, thank you so much for that. A live picture right now. Air Force One soon to go wheels up, heading to New Orleans. President Trump will be the first sitting president to attend that Super Bowl game in New Orleans. And thank you so much for tuning in here on this Championship Sunday. Now I'm Andy Mack. It's been a pleasure to guide you along the entirety of the season. And of course, our Fox crew having the time of their lives in New Orleans, gearing up for this game in just under 4 hours. Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski there. They are connecting one more time. This is a post from the NFL on Bourbon Street from some of the balconies. You can see there Tom Brady throwing to his old teammate and now new teammate, Rob Gronkowski. A perfect connection once more. Celebrations abound here, and we'll soon see who will win Super Bowl 59, a Gronk spike from the second level. So very cool to see. So very impressive here as Tom Brady there and company will be on the call for this game a little bit later on Fox. And of course, you can also tune on Tubi as it is history in the making in terms of that. A live picture there in New Orleans at the Superdome. For the first time ever, the Super Bowl is streaming live on Tubi in partnership with Fox Sports, all in real time. Kickoff at 6:30 Eastern. I'm Andy Mack. We're back after this.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox, where we are on Championship Sunday now coverage all throughout the rest of this evening, actually, not even just up until kickoff for Super Bowl 59, which starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. You're taking a live look out there in New Orleans, Louisiana, and we do, of course, have our countdown clock up in the top right-hand side of your screen, as we can see just about 3 hours, 32 minutes until the big game gets underway. Thank you all for joining us throughout this Sunday. My name is Karal Lahara, and I'll be with you throughout the next several hours up until kickoff. And a special thanks, of course, to my colleague, Andy Mack, who has been guiding us through all of this football coverage with several Sunday segments of Football Sunday Now, all leading up to this moment. And we've got quite a fun show up ahead. And I just want to start by telling all of our viewers at home that I really want to see your spirit on this Super Bowl Sunday. I mean, I'm here at work, but I want to see how you are all celebrating. And to do that, I'm going to ask you, of course, to be sending in your photos throughout the day today. And we're going to continue to showcase them all into this evening. So here on your screen, you can see that there is a QR code. Send us your Super Bowl Sunday photos. At the top right-hand side of your screen, just pull out your phone with your camera, scan that code, and it'll take you to the login page where you can submit your photo, and you can also add a caption. You can also head to livenowfox.com/connect. I can't wait to see all the photos that all of you will be sending. And of course, there's no limit to what you can send. I want to see your pets celebrating. I want to see what kind of foods you're eating. I want to see where you're all watching our coverage from, as we are really going continuous wall to wall with everything you need to know on this Super Bowl Sunday. Speaking of, we know that so many fans across the country are really excited. They are celebrating this moment, and I'm going to bring you out to this live picture that we continue to go back to. This is over in Bourbon Street, Louisiana, where crowds have just been filling in onto these streets really over the past couple of days or so, as people are getting ready to see this anticipated matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. Super Bowl 59, again, it starts at 6:30 Eastern tonight. That is kickoff time. So as fans are gearing up, we also know that many are focused on which superstar will take the stage and what time the performance will start. But we know that today headlining the Super Bowl halftime show is going to be Kendrick Lamar, who just won big at the latest Grammy ceremony that we just saw a couple of weeks or so ago. And then you may remember that the last Super Bowl, the winners were the Kansas City Chiefs. After they won the AFC and faced the NFC champion, the San Francisco 49ers, in Super Bowl 58, the Chiefs back then won 25-22 with Patrick Mahomes taking home the MVP. So we'll have to see which of these players gets that MVP title tonight. Let's get a full recap as to how excited people are, how they're celebrating down there on the ground in New Orleans with this report from Fox News correspondent Matt Finn.
I'm Matt Finn on Bourbon Street, where there is electric energy heading into the Super Bowl here. Tens of thousands of people packing onto Bourbon Street. We're seeing Kansas City fans, we're seeing Eagles fans, and people from all over the country who just wanted to be here for the Super Bowl. President Donald Trump is expected to attend the game, the first sitting president ever. Also expected, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift was spotted here in New Orleans with her Chiefs boyfriend, Travis Kelce. And we talked to some people here in New Orleans about the game. How excited are you? Three-peat historical, is the pressure on?
Woo! We're very excited.
No pressure.
No pressure.
You guys are here to stop the three-peat, so there's a lot of pressure.
Yes, but you know what? If we play like we played, we will defeat and we will be the one that wins this year.
We're going to win this game. We got Jalen Hurts, we got a defense, we got Saquon Barkley. We have more than enough pieces to win this game.
Now, the latest data from StubHub indicates that you can get into the door for about $2,600, and the average cost of a ticket has dropped below $7,000. On Bourbon Street in New Orleans, Matt Finn, Fox News.
All right, Matt Finn having so much fun down there on Bourbon Street. I do believe that that was last night, but still, I mean, the crowd is rocking out there. Back out to this live picture, courtesy of our partners over at EarthCam, down there live in Bourbon Street as we continue this coverage on your Super Bowl Sunday. And let's talk a little bit about some of the players that we need to watch. Before we do that, though, let's roll through some of these viewer photos that you guys have already been sending in throughout the day today, because, of course, we have been showcasing that QR code throughout all morning. So taking a look here, we have this great one that was sent in by the Nielsen family. It says, "Happy birthday, Barkley. Fly, Eagles, fly." And when we're saying Barkley, of course, we're talking about Saquon Barkley. He is the running back for the Eagles and really one of those superstars to watch at the moment. In fact, earlier today, we had a megaphone poll to several of our viewers asking who may win the MVP today. And Barkley has come in so far with the responses that we've gotten in a close second, right after Patrick Mahomes. Saquon, not just one of those key players to watch here, as he has helped lead the Eagles to the Super Bowl and did have an incredible season after signing a $37.75 million three-year contract last March. He is also one of those players that really is looking out there to do good. And I want to head over to this really feel-good story on this Super Bowl Sunday, because he is the reason why one of these big-time Eagles fans is able to attend the Super Bowl after suffering what is a devastating flag football injury. Let's head to this report courtesy of our partners at Fox 35 in Orlando with the latest.
I'm going to the Super Bowl.
What's up, Mason?
I'm going to the Super Bowl.
Philadelphia Eagles star running back Saquon Barkley made plenty of moves on the field this season.
What's up, Mason? It's Saquon Barkley, and I just want to let you know that I heard your story, and I could tell that you're a tough guy.
His best move may have been outside the lines.
It was definitely surreal, full circle.
Last year, 12-year-old Mason Doherty suffered a concussion during a flag football game. For days, he had no feeling from the waist down.
There's a lot of unknown, a lot of fear.
Mason channeled the resilience of his favorite player, Saquon Barkley, who also is no stranger to serious injuries. In 2020, Barkley was carted off the field after suffering a knee injury. He returned the following season. Mason used that inspiration to power through his own intense physical therapy in a Kelly Green number 26 jersey.
I think he did a fantastic job just kind of taking one day at a time. He really handled it very well when it was very scary.
During his recovery, the Eagles were battling their way to a 14-win season. Mason followed along the whole way.
He absolutely loves them, and he's a diehard Eagles fan.
Eventually, his story reached a familiar face.
Do you know who that is?
That's Saquon.
Who delivered an unexpected message and opportunity.
I'm inviting you and a guest to Super Bowl 59. We got a big game coming up. We'd love for you to be there.
You got invited by Saquon himself. What do you... Yeah!
The father-son duo landed in a private jet in New Orleans on Friday. Though Mason still has a ways to go in his recovery, he'll do it with the support of his favorite player and team.
Went from, this kind of dark, scary, lonely place to we're completely surrounded by community.
Start packing. Go Birds.
Oh, yeah.
For Fox 35 News, Chris Lindsay.
Thank you to Chris Lindsay there with Fox 35 for really that wonderful story. And we are going to focus a lot during our Championship Sunday Now special on what some of these key players had to say ahead of the big game happening tonight. So let's kind of continue with this tangent and listen in to what Saquon Barkley had to say earlier this week.
I wouldn't say it was hard. It doesn't even, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's hard. The ways we did it just by working out with each other, competing with each other, going out golfing with each other. That was something that I try to lock in on and trying to grow the relationship, not just only with the offensive line, with all the guys on the team, because I believe relationships are key to having a successful team.
Saquon, how do you want to be remembered, not only as a player, but a person?
It's bigger than football. I would love to leave an impact. I love the things I'm able to do on the football field, but I want to expand and get better on the things I'm able to do off the field, and that's how I want to be remembered, by making an impact in my community. This game is a beautiful thing. With the game that we play and the platform that allows us to be able to have an impact and change people's lives. So it might be 1, might be 10, might be 100. If I'm able to do that, that would be a great thing for me.
How locked in is your quarterback this week?
It's the same thing every week. Not only him, but the whole team. Obviously, we're here and we're doing the stuff that's required for us to do, but it is a business trip, so I would say not only him, but just the whole team where we need to be.
What do you appreciate most about him?
Just the way he comes to work every single day. You can see that in his work ethic, and you can see that in his preparation, and when we go on the practice field, and you can see that on the field on Sundays and Thursdays, Mondays, whenever we play. It definitely prepared me for moments like this. Just playing in those big games, those whiteout games, and going there, and just the way how we focus on sacrificing, we focus on competing, we focus on positive attitude. I still carry those. I'm missing one more core value. Coach Frank will probably be mad at me for that one, but I carry that with me into the NFL and try to apply it to my everyday life, and even try to apply it to how I raise my kids, and how I want to interact with my family and friends. Penn State's been unbelievable for me, and they're a key reason why I'm here today. The mom mentality is something that's really important to me. Constant quest to try and be your best self and the best version of yourself. I think anybody can apply that. It's not just a sports thing. Wherever it is, if you're in finance, if you're in science or whatever. You can apply that to your work ethic. And it's cool to be able to play for the Eagles and, knowing that this is Kobe's favorite team. And, me being, I'm not from Philadelphia, but I'm like an hour away from it. So I got a lot of love and support and a lot of Philly fans from back home. So to be able to bring a trophy back would definitely be special.
Over your course of your career, it seems like you're running like the next one is like guaranteed. Where does that have to have it mentality come from?
Yeah, I think it comes from getting hurt. I think it comes from adversities and injuries. But yeah, that's kind of where the mentality comes from, knowing that this game could be taken from you at any given moment. So, you got to appreciate it and try to take advantage of it.
What do you remember most about your first interactions with Jalen and Nick?
Yeah, my first interactions with Nick, I think it would probably be when I got into the building and, called him to his office and we sat down and we talked. And, that was just the start of our relationship and getting to know each other. And Jalen's kind of was, talking over through text previously, but then meeting in person and going out there and competing with each other in OTAs, whether it's on the field or in the weight room. I think all those, those two things right there was the start of a great relationship with both those guys.
Saquon, the 2025 Pro Football Hall of Fame class gets announced tonight. Your former teammate Eli Manning could be in that class. Would you like to see him be a first ballot?
Yeah, I would love to see Eli be a first ballot Hall of Fame. He's top 10 in almost every statistic, and he's a two-time Super Bowl MVP. So I don't think it's really a question, in my opinion.
Are there any other teammates, active or retired, you'd like to see get more love in Hall of Fame talks?
Eli's the first one that comes to mind right now. I'll have to think about that and get back to you.
So there you have it, just a few of the comments that were made by Eagles running back Saquon Barkley earlier this week ahead of the Super Bowl. And just a couple more stats here that Barkley has become the 9th player ever to rush 2,000 yards in a regular season, and he has also set an NFL record by completing 7 touchdown runs of at least 60 yards in the regular season and playoffs. We are taking a live look there at the Caesars Superdome over in New Orleans, Louisiana, where the game is set to get underway. Before we head to our first commercial break of this hour, let's take a look at some more of these viewer photos that some of you are sending to us here at Live Now from Fox. So you can see here, outnumbered, that is quite a few Eagles fans there. In comparison to what seems to be just one Chiefs fan there. Thank you to Patrick Oliver over in Springfield for sending this photo. A reminder that we're going to be showcasing these throughout the afternoon, way into the evening. You can scan that QR code there on the top right corner of your screen or head to livenowfox.com/connect to submit your photo. We'll be right back. Welcome into a Championship Sunday now here at Live Now from Fox. My name is Carol Lahara, and it is a pleasure to be with you on this Super Bowl Sunday, bringing you all of the latest ahead of the big game, kickoff being at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. But my favorite part so far, of course, has been these viewer photos that we continue to get into our newsroom. So I do want to re-rack a couple of them next for you here. And I do want to start with one that we just showcased before that last break, where we see here outnumbered. It was just so funny, when you see families together, and really big Eagles fans here. But at least the Kansas City Chiefs, they got one fan within this family. Thank you again to Patrick Oliver for that photo. We have this one. All right, another Eagles fan here. Ian saying, "This is Ian, ready for tonight's Super Bowl. And aren't we all?" I really like how festive this filter is. That is great. And then, all right. This is great. We have a Kristen friend, Sissy and Benny. So it's safe to say who they're voting for. Clearly the Kansas City Chiefs there. Oh, that is awesome, though. That hair is too fabulous. And those outfits, they really put some thought into that. Thank you guys so much. Remember that you can continue to send these photos here, scanning the QR code there at the top right-hand side of your screen, or heading to livenowfox.com/connect. At the same time, we're also showcasing different megaphone polls throughout the day today, and I want to bring this one up next. Kind of the same concept as you do when you submit a photo. You just scan the QR code at the top right-hand side of your screen, or you head to livenowfox.com/connect. So this question concerns who will be Super Bowl MVP today. So we have a few people voting here. Saquon Barkley actually really up there in the lead from the last time that I saw some of these poll results, with 57% right now. What's really fun about this is that anytime you vote, you're going to change the numbers. You're going to see the numbers change in real time, and they're happening quickly here. All right, Patrick Mahomes going up there, getting some more of these votes at 24% and kind of gaining there on Saquon a little bit. But you can see here that based off of the viewers at home, you're all tuning in, kind of know who your top two people are at the moment. Travis Kelce there, a tight end for the Chiefs, coming up too with 14%. Jalen Hurts, quarterback for the Eagles, only at 4%. All right, 7%. See what I mean? These are going to change very quickly here. But let's, so we heard from Saquon Barkley just before the break during that first part of my time here on the desk. So let's kind of move down this MVP contention, shall we? We did also hear from Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes earlier this week ahead of the big game today. And a reminder that, I mean, it's a pretty big deal for both of these teams, because the Chiefs, they're going for that three-peat, something that no other team has done in NFL history. But the Eagles, they have a vendetta, all right, because they faced off against the Chiefs 2 years ago, and they lost. So I know they're trying to come back here with a vengeance. But back to the Chiefs here. Let's listen into what Patrick Mahomes had to say ahead of tonight's game.
First to ask, Patrick, you guys mic there. Coming your way with Mike.
Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning.
Just curious, from your perspective, what does Travis Kelce bring to the Chiefs beyond what he does on game day?
I think it's the level of leadership, someone that comes to work every single day. And obviously with his career, he could take reps off. He can kind of wait to play in the game days, but that's not his personality. He wants to be out there. He wants to put the work in. And whenever you have your Hall of Fame guy putting the work in, it kind of bleeds through the rest of the football team.
Patrick, right here, front row to your left. From the Hunts to Andy, Spags players, everyone talks about the Chiefs and all that you accomplished, rightfully so, but maybe not enough talk about, it's a pretty selfless group of people. It's more about the team than anything else. Could you talk about that side of your franchise?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I know how blessed I am to be in the organization and on the football team that I'm on from day one, and it's a culture that's been set by Coach Reed, and throughout the whole organization, it's about winning. It doesn't matter how it's done. It's about coming to work every single day, leaving it all on the football field, and winning football games. And I think that's what's kind of made us so successful these last few years, and hopefully we can carry on that tradition.
Good morning, Pat. Hey, the last year you sat at the table of Troy Aikman, remember? And you would be, what good represents to you would be at Montana's and Bradshaw table. And how do you keep that hungry to win? Thank you.
Yeah, I think more than anything, you see the opportunities that you get, and you never know what's going to be your last one. And to be able to be in the Super Bowl again is always special. And so for me, just being hungry to be as great as I possibly can be, not only for myself but for my teammates, and knowing how blessed I am. So it's been a heck of a run, and hopefully we can continue as my career goes on.
Hey, Patrick, over here to your left. I don't know if you saw the clip yesterday, but President Trump described you as a pretty good winner. I just wondered what you thought about that and how it's going to feel to play in front of him on Sunday. Yeah, I mean, it's always cool to be able to play in front of a sitting president, someone that is at the top position in our country. And so I didn't see that clip, but obviously it's cool to hear that he's seen me play football and respects the game that I play.
Hi, Patrick. First off, congratulations on a great season. I've been sent on a mission by an elementary school teacher by the name of Mary Crippen. She's incorporated her entire curriculum into NFL football this year and done a great job. The NFL community has showed a lot of love in it. Now, she has one student, okay, by the name of Joaquin, who's been rooting for the Chiefs all season, but he's in an environment that may not share those same sentiments. What message would you give to Joaquin?
Yeah, Joaquin, man, I appreciate the support. Just know that the Chiefs are rooting for you as much as you're rooting for us. So we're going to try to go out there and make you proud, and we appreciate that you're supporting us in a hostile environment sometimes.
Hey, Patrick, up front to your left. Can you just tell me how you're feeling mentally as the days get closer and how you're able to stay level-headed when you're trying to perform your best, especially on the biggest stage this Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty much the same. I think you stay so busy here that you don't really realize the magnitude of the game that you're playing. But I think it comes with the experience, knowing what the week presents, knowing where you're going to be at, and then try to keep it as close as you can to the routine that you always have. So we're excited for the game, and we're excited to get back to more and more higher leverage, higher level practices and get ready to go out there and play our best football.
Patrick, over here to this side. You guys, it's well known that you guys have had tough training camps to start the year and OTAs. How have you guys been able to maintain maybe that discipline, that hard work, even as you've won?
It starts with Coach Reed and the culture that he's built. But I think through this entire team, you have a lot of guys that love the process of starting from the bottom and having to build your way back up there. And we understand what it takes to get to the Super Bowl, and we know it's not easy. And so instead of just trying to go out there and go through the motions, guys know that they have to put this work in and to get to this position. And so, like I said, it starts with Coach Reed and the culture that he's built. But I think that the team has a lot of guys that want to do what it takes to win.
Patrick, as a Texas Tech alum, I get this question a lot, but could you explain to everyone what is a Texas Tech tortilla?
Yeah, it's tradition. I think that's the biggest thing is when you're on that football field and you get the tortillas thrown out the kickoffs or kind of throughout the football game or after big plays, it kind of just shows that the fans are into it, and it shows the love that the Red Raiders have for their teams. And so tortilla is obviously funny and something that people think is cool to see, but I think more than anything, it just shows the love of the fans.
Have you ever tried one?
I have not tried one. Not off the field, for sure.
Patrick, to your right over here. Is there a game maybe that you replay in your mind more often than other games, whether it's a loss or a victory, that maybe a game that keeps you up at night?
The Super Bowl versus Tampa. It's pretty easy.
Hi, Patrick. Here, look. At this stage of your career, how do you define success and how do you measure your progression? Is it only a matter of wins and Super Bowls?
Not necessarily. I think what I've always said in my career is that for me, success is leaving everything you have on the football field every time you have the opportunity to, if that's practice, if that's games, OTAs, whatever it is. And I don't want to have regrets at the end of my career. And if I can go out there and feel like I progress and I know that I'm putting everything I have into a football game, that'll be a successful career to me.
Hey, Patrick, NFL honors tomorrow night. Looks like Jaden Daniels is going to win Rookie of the Year. Just curious what you thought of Jaden's play this year and kind of the offense Cliff designed for him.
Yeah, I mean, extremely talented. But I think from watching the tape, especially watching the games that he played against the Eagles this year, it was cool to even see his progression throughout the season from the games that he played. And you could tell he got better and better. And that's what you want to do in the NFL is you can be talented, you can make all the throws, but can you progress and can you learn what defenses are doing to account for you and get better from that? And it seemed like he did that all year long. And it's going to be just the start of a great career. So extremely talented, great football player, and deserves all the honors that he'll get.
Patrick, here. Last year with Miami, Big Fangio used to blitz a lot against you. He was not very successful. Do you expect the same aggressivity on Sunday?
I mean, every time I've played Coach Fangio, there's been different change-ups and different things that he's thrown at us. And I think that's what makes him so great is he's not going to just do exactly what you saw the last time. And so I'm sure there'll be blitzes in the game. I'm sure there'll be times they play coverage. It's going to be a chess match, and you want to go up against the best, and he's one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL, and it'll be a great challenge for us as an offense and as a football team.
So you're right here, Pat. To some degree, is fourth down maybe your favorite down? When I look at the stats, it's maybe your best down statistically. What kind of goes into performing so well?
Just knowing that it's kind of like that win or go home mentality that you have in the playoffs. You have to go out there and execute at the highest level and the highest leverage positions. And I think Coach Reed has prepared us for those moments in training camp and throughout the season. He puts us in situations where we have to make those big plays. And so I think the preparation prepares you to go out there and execute at those high leverage moments like fourth down.
So you've been in many harsh environments. How do you prepare for the harsh environments that you've played in, and what's the toughest environment that you played in, and how do you prepare with your coaches to play in an environment like that?
I think more than anything, you just focus on the guys around you. I've played in a lot of harsh environments. That's in Buffalo, in the cold, with the fans against you, or in Denver, or Oakland, or in Vegas. I mean, you always have fans that are against you in some of those away games, and so you focus on your teammates. You focus on going out there together, and it kind of builds even a closer brotherhood of it's kind of you versus everybody, and so. I think it just comes with the experience that you just go out there and just be who you are.
Hey, Patrick, back here. Joe Thuney is a big piece to the offense. Can you talk about him, how he's grown? Obviously, he didn't allow a sack 2 years ago against Philadelphia. How you think he'll adapt again against them in a few days?
Yeah, I think, he's just such a tremendous player and a tremendous teammate. I've been saying for a couple of years now, he's just like a gold jacket guy. I mean, he's someone he's won the Super Bowls. He'll play at any position on that offensive line, and he'll do whatever it takes, sacrifice to win. And you need those guys. And so to have him jump out to left tackle this year and have a lot of success, it just shows the type of player that he is. And it'll be a great challenge for him going up against this D-line. This D-line has great players at all the positions, and they rotate in, and they can stay fresh because they have so many good guys. And so just going out there and trusting those guys and let them go out as a unit, go out there and play their best football on the biggest stage.
Patrick, down here on your left. Travis said earlier in the week he wants to play for another 3 years. I just wondered what do you see in the facility on a day-to-day, maybe some of his routines that has allowed him to stay so healthy and allowed him to play so late in his 30s?
Yeah, he takes care of his body. He's focused on the ultimate mission of being the best football player that he can be. And I think more than anything, more than I think he wants to even do it for himself, he just loves being in the building with his teammates and being a part of that. And so he's like I said, he practices so hard and he keeps himself in such good shape that I believe that he can play as long as he wants to play. It's just going to be about how long he wants to play. And so hopefully he does play another 3 years, because that's always good for me.
Hi, Patrick. Andrea Sola from Azteca Deportes. Here.
Oh, yep.
Hi, how are you? We admire you because of your confident and calm in each situation. Do you have any secret or ritual for that? Or is there something that make you feel insecure sometimes?
On the football field, no. I'm so focused on just the process of making the best play possible for the team, and you don't worry about the moment or where you're at, the environment or anything like that. You just go out there and just go about your process step by step through your checklist, and then make the play happen. And so none on the football field, I think, makes you insecure. I probably couldn't think of anything in real life. I feel like I'm pretty confident in who I am, and I know there's a couple things here and there that people might make fun of, but I'm confident in myself.
Hi, Patrick. Right here. How would you describe the evolution and the development of your game from the 2019 season and your first Super Bowl to now?
I think just more experience, more of knowing what the defense is trying to do to stop us and getting the football out of my hand. And I was always looking for the big play, and that had a lot of success. It was a lot of fun to watch, but I feel like now I can kind of focus on the successful play. And you want to still hit those big plays and have those big touchdowns, but whenever it's not there, getting to the check down or the guy underneath and letting them make plays for us. And so I think that's been my biggest progression throughout my entire career.
Hey, Patrick, right here. This being your 5th Super Bowl, what do you remember most about this whole process with respect to the first Super Bowl? And when I say the whole process, I mean the preparation, not only for the game, but the media and all of that, as opposed to now. How do you kind of compare that? Is it still kind of fun for you?
It's still fun. Every Super Bowl is its own experience. But I think more than anything, it's just preparing because you know the process. You know what it takes throughout the week, and it gives you more experience and more calm where you're not worried, and you just continue to work to be the best version of yourself you can be and learn from your previous Super Bowls, and hopefully you can play even better in the game when you get out there on Sunday.
Thanks. Hi, Patrick. I've covered the NFL for over 40 years, and I've seen a lot of great quarterbacks throughout. But one of the guys that stands out to me is Joe Montana. He won Super Bowls with the 49ers, and he nearly got one done with the Chiefs. What are your thoughts about Joe Montana, and have you been able to learn anything throughout the years watching this guy play? Because he's certainly in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I know, a legend of the game. I think what made Joe such a tremendous player was how calm he was in these big moments and how he could continue to elevate his teammates. And so I think that's what I've learned more than anything, is just whenever you're in the face of adversity, don't show it. Go out there, just be who you are, and be cool, be confident. And I think that bleeds through the rest of the football team. And so that's what I think I've learned most from Joe Montana. Thanks, Patrick.
Listening there to Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. That was earlier this week, speaking ahead of the big Super Bowl game happening tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. On your screen, I have brought back once again this megaphone poll question that we'll continue to showcase throughout the remainder of this afternoon and evening, which is who will win Super Bowl MVP today. So I'm going to leave it up here for just a second to give all of you guys at home watching with us here at Live Now from Fox a chance to vote. And as you can see, the numbers continuously change as soon as people submit all of their responses. You can scan that QR code at the top right-hand side of your screen. Also head to livenowfox.com/connect. And I do believe that when you head to that website, it showcases several of these megaphone polls that we're going to continue to bring throughout our programming today. And then also remember that at livenowfox.com/connect, you can also submit viewer photos that we're also showcasing right here, just because, you know, we're spending our Super Bowl with you, and we hope that you're all enjoying spending it with us at home. We're stepping away for a quick commercial break, but we'll be back with more of this continuing coverage ahead of the game next. Welcome back to Championship Sunday. Now we are taking a live look there out of the Caesars Superdome over in New Orleans, Louisiana. The countdown clock up on the top right-hand side of your screen, counting down to Super Bowl 59 happening tonight. Just about 2 hours and 33 minutes until kickoff. Thank you all for being with us throughout this Sunday. We love that you're spending it with us here ahead of the big game. My name is Carl Lahada. So let's continue to listen in to what some more of these key players had to say throughout this first part of the week ahead of tonight's big game. And before I do so, let's head over to this megaphone poll that I've continued to post up here, posing a question to our viewers: who will win Super Bowl MVP today? These numbers are continuing to change throughout the course of this afternoon, but still we do have Saquon Barkley. See, they just change like immediately. So I feel like I can't even talk about who's in the league. But right now, okay, Saquon Barkley, running back for the Eagles, 40%. Patrick Mahomes, though, Chiefs QB, kind of close behind. Every time we get more submissions, it seems like he inches his way closer to Barkley there. Then we have Jalen Hurts, QB for the Eagles, at 16% right now, 15-16. And then Travis Kelce, tight end for the Chiefs, coming in last at 7%. But you never know how these answers are going to be shifting and changing ahead of the game. So in the last hour, when we first started, well, when I first sat here on the desk with you all, I showcased what Saquon Barkley had to say this week, and I also showed you what Chiefs QB Patrick Mahomes had to say. Let's continue going down this list, and we're going to go back to the Philadelphia Eagles for this next one. What did Jalen Hurts have to say ahead of this big game? Just a reminder that while the Chiefs are going for this three-peat, which would make them the first team in the NFL's history to do so, meaning win 3 Super Bowls in a row, the Eagles, they're coming back with a vengeance because they're trying to get that win after losing to the Chiefs just 2 Super Bowls ago. So what does QB Hurts have to say? Let's listen.
How we doing?
Okay, Jen, we'll start on the left here.
Hi, Jalen Meyer Gomez. First of all, congratulations for being here again. And this is kind of an off question, but being that you have, and I know you've been asked about this before, but just the empowerment of women through your marketing team, your staff, your agents, and now all of the opportunities that women have, you know, just around the country when it comes to sports. How important is it for you to continue to support women?
Well, it's something that happened very organically, and really was just seeking out for the best, and that's how it happened. And I have a lot of confidence in my team and everyone that supports me Everyone puts their best foot forward. You know, they do a great job of being intentional. And honestly, for me, it's an eye that I don't have that I'm able to lean on in certain situations, and so that's something I value heavily.
Hi, Jalen. Let's stay over here. So when you were asked about the Kendrick and Drake beef, you said you have an old soul and you like Frankie Beverly. So I was curious, what kind of other music do you listen to during pregame? Yeah, how does that old soul kind of come out in other parts of your personality?
Yeah, I think music is a great way of expression, and I think just specifically to Frankie Beverly, I've always had a special connection with him, been able to meet him before I came to the NFL, and him passing this year and getting close with his family. But I always have a special space in my heart for sure.
Hi. Good morning, Jalen. What would be your main motivation by winning this Super Bowl? I've noticed that you guys have less penalties than the 2022. You have a more disciplined team. Do you think this team is better than 2 years ago? What did you learn about that loss in the Super Bowl?
Well, yeah, I've always said that every team is different, and I think personally and individually for all the guys on the team, every year requires a different version of that player. And for us, we've got a ton of different players on our team. We've got a lot of young players starring and playing pivotal roles and everything. And so you just have to navigate that and find your way as a team for that year. And so we've been able to play disciplined ball. We've been able to play ball and be on the same page and find ways to win. And we're just looking forward to doing that one more time.
In the back right. Jalen, over here. Jalen, a lot of players said that this year's team is far more connected than last year and even the team that went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. What have you seen in terms of that connection, and why is that so important?
Well, I say to that, I think a big part of it has to do with the Georgia background on defense. And I think that starts with Kobe Dean and all those guys that were able to play ball in college together and bring their ways to the league. And so I think that has a big impact on our culture, on defense, how they play, how together they are. And then I think that kind of seeps through the team in many ways.
Hi, Jalen.
How you doing?
I'm glad to see you back in the big game. I talked to Chris Jones earlier, and obviously he's the anchor of that Chiefs defense. And, of course, you're familiar with Steve Spagnuolo. Saw him a couple of years ago. How much respect do you actually have for that Chiefs defense, knowing full well that Steve Spagnuolo is one of the best defensive coordinators in the league, and Chris Jones and that rest of that defense? Because this is a good group, and I'm sure you probably got to be poised for this challenge.
Yeah, well, it's a great team that's been doing it for a good minute now, and led by him, Coach Spags. He's a great coach, pushes players in great positions to make plays, and everybody plays hard, so you can tell that they got a good thing going. They've been having a good thing going, been able to evolve over the years and still find ways to win and be efficient on defense. So it'll be a great challenge.
Military factor from a couple of years ago will make it a little bit easier for you to prepare for this time around.
No, I think competitively everything changes and evolves as it goes, and so you got to reassess it from where you are in that moment.
Hi, Jalen. Dr. Grossinger, Philly, Sports Doc, great to speak to you.
Same here.
As a guy who's been doing this for 30 years, I just marvel at the way you recover from any injuries. That you tweaked your knee in the Rams game, you wore a brace, and then you just threw it away. And it seems like this year you've been running much better. You're much healthier this year. How do you recover so quickly?
I don't know. I guess some people got it and some people don't. It come with a lot of other things as well. But I think that it's a process that goes into everything. How you eat, how you prepare, the time you put into certain areas of sleep, recovery. And there's so many different things that you can try and get 1% better at to try and help you recover, try and help you improve. And I think some of it is, too, the wisdom that you learn as you play the game and as you mature throughout your career. You try and manage certain things while you play. And so been able to get to this point, this is what you play for. You play for opportunities like this and moments like this, and it'll be good to leave it all out there on the field.
Jalen, Nick talked about the night before the last Super Bowl a couple of years ago where you let a bunch of players talk, and it was a pretty emotional one. What do you recall about that, and just how different is the night before a Super Bowl when you prepare compared to a regular game?
Well, I think it was emotional because Jason Kelsey kind of stole the show with it. He's always great when he speaks, and I think it's an opportunity for everyone to say where they are, what motivates them in a sense, and how they're feeling going into the game.
Mike Jones, Athletic. Last time you and Patrick made history as the two first black quarterbacks to be in the game together. Not much mention of it now. Does it still carry any significance? And is there anything that the plight of the black quarterback can teach the NFL when it comes to coaches and GMs whose numbers are still kind of sparse?
Yeah, well, it's not mentioned as much now. And it's history again. You know, it's funny to see that it's the two of us again doing it, but nonetheless, you know, just embracing the opportunity, embracing that stage, and knowing that torch you carry for all those. I literally just got a text from someone that is a quarterback, aspiring quarterback in the professionals, talking about just leading the way and paving the way for the young black kings coming up, and that means a lot, you know, because I know everybody's always watching. But from to your second part of your question, just thinking about leadership, thinking about those abilities and being able to lead a group of men, that was something that, you know, many people didn't think that a person like myself was capable of, especially as time has evolved. And I think there are certain barriers that you still try and overcome. But, you know, it's a blessing. It's an opportunity that I don't take for granted. And, you know, you do it for moments like this.
Jalen, you've been with the Eagles for 5 seasons now. During your time in the city of Philadelphia, what have you come to love about the city of Philly?
I think the passion oozes out, you know. The passion oozes out. And then I play the game that I love here. You know, I didn't know where the journey would lead me. I didn't know where I end up playing, but definitely couldn't imagine being anywhere else.
Martin on the right. Hey, Jalen. Obviously, in your college and NFL experience, you've had many different play callers. I know you've talked about it quite a bit, but what is the hardest thing about adjusting to a new play caller, and how long did it take before you kind of felt comfortable this year with Kellen and his system?
Yeah, my approach in any change is to approach it and be diligent with it. Be diligent. Have open arms, have an open mind, and take in the coaching that I can, take in the new ideas that I can, so I can try and further develop myself. And ultimately, I'm taking all these things in so I can find ways to win and lead the team to victories. But you know, I think knowledge is everything, and all of the coaches that I've been able to learn from have brought great things to me. And so, you know, however things go, my mentality is going to always be to be a sponge, you know, and take in what I can so I can improve and help the people around me improve as well and win.
In the tunnel right before the game on Sunday, what's one piece of advice, what's going to be the main thing on your mind in the tunnel right before you run out on Sunday?
Just take it a play at a time.
Jalen, obviously lower body strength has played a big role in you being so successful with the tush push. There's a lot of rumors out there. How much are you really kind of squatting, and how much are you deadlifting? What are kind of your numbers these days for those?
Yeah, some things are kind of just there. You know, some things are just there. So I don't put myself in those positions as much as I used to. But it's obviously still there.
Hey, Jalen, I know you're not very stats-driven, but personal legacy, is that something that drives you?
Winning is what drives me.
Nothing more than that?
No.
Jalen back here. This is your second Super Bowl, and you have a lot of other teammates that this is their first Super Bowl. Do you have any sort of like special, you know, message to them or anything in the locker room that you tell them to kind of help ease those nerves, if there are any?
Yeah, I just encourage everyone to stick to the routine, stick to the script of what they've been doing to get to this point. You know, you want to try and treat it just as you treated every other game, every other moment. And it's kind of the approach. You know, there's a lot of wind around you. There's a lot of external things that really don't matter in the sense of what we come here to accomplish. So just keep the main thing the main thing.
Hi, Jalen. Playing for Alabama and Oklahoma with right here. Playing for Alabama and Oklahoma with Coach Saban and Riley, what has led to your success to being at your second Super Bowl?
Well, in relation to those guys, man, coming in and being able to learn, just learn. You know, I went to Alabama because there was something about the process that just got me, you know, and how Coach Saban was. And over time, I began to realize I was more like him than many people realized. And it was just a great experience of development, maturity, and adversity, and all of those different things. And I think going to Oklahoma, it was opening this new door of seeing football a different way and being with Coach Riley and seeing coaching and success look a totally different way, but yet still find yourself in great territory. And so very fortunate for those experiences of my career. It's gave me a ton of value, and it's helped me get where I am today for sure in all aspects.
We have time for two more, so we'll start in the back here.
Hey, Jalen, have you went back and watched the tape of the last Super Bowl? And if so, what would you like to change going into this one?
I'd like to win the game. Like to win the game.
Hi, Jalen. You were talking about preparation. How has the preparation changed for the Super Bowl from the other one you happened?
Yeah, well, you know, you want to treat them all the same. You want to treat them all the same, not just, you know, every game is a big game, you know. So we got another opportunity to do it, and we work very hard for this moment and to be the last man standing. And so we just want to put our best foot forward. You know, we got another opportunity to get better at practice today and just take advantage of it and keep stacking. Keep stacking.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
So you just heard there from Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts ahead of the Super Bowl. That was during some of the media briefing that we had this week. Back on your screen is this megaphone poll question: who will win Super Bowl MVP today? Jalen Hurts with 9%. Travis Kelce, though, still lower than that with just a 5%. In the lead, we have running back Saquon Barkley with 49% so far. Chiefs QB Patrick Mahomes at 35%. So it really is a kind of anyone's game ahead of the Eagles facing off against the Chiefs tonight. Remember that kickoff is at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. And you can watch it on Fox. If you don't have cable, though, you're in luck, because for the first time, you can stream the Super Bowl. You can stream it on Tubi for free, and that includes the pregame festivities, halftime show, and an exclusive red carpet event. So you can download Tubi on your Roku app. You can also do it on any of your smartphones or your gaming consoles. So just a reminder to everyone that you can catch the Super Bowl on that free streaming service app, Tubi. And I can see here that the numbers are continuing to change as more of you are voting down there at home. Thanks so much for participating. Before we head to our first commercial break, of this hour, let's look at some more of the viewer photos, because it's not just these questions that we want you all to answer. We also want to see how you are spending your Super Bowl, how you are celebrating, and we continue to get just the best photos. Jerry here out of Hutchinson. Millie votes Chiefs all the way. And Millie is so cute. I may just have to agree with her. Look at that. So sweet. She's ready for this big game. She's just getting her nap in before it's time to party ahead of kickoff. Alex Shapiro and Weston, go Birds. All right, homie. Decked out, ready for the game with the green glasses and all. Fly, Eagles, fly there on his shirt. And then let's do one more of these viewer photos before we head to that commercial break. We have this one here. Janelle Schaefer, Carrollton. Fly, Eagles, fly. So it's really kind of neck and neck with all of our viewers at home here ahead of the Super Bowl. We've got like a good mix in here of Chiefs fans and Eagles fans. And I just love seeing how you are all having fun and you're as excited about this game as I am. I truly am. Thanks so much for participating. Scan the QR code there on the top right-hand side of your screen. Whenever we pull up these viewer photos, the QR code will be there and you can submit yours along with a caption. We'll be right back. Welcome back in, and thanks for being with us here in Championship Sunday Now. My name is Corral Lahara, and we are continuing our coverage on this Super Bowl Sunday ahead of the big game kickoff at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But our coverage is going to continue way during that game and even after. So we're going to bring you just all of these different angles concerning the Super Bowl. A live now look at this picture that I continue to bring up because it's so fun. It's such a great vantage point that we have here over in New Orleans of the Caesars Superdome, where that game set to start in about 2 hours, 12 minutes from now. Let's roll through some more of these viewer photos. It's definitely my favorite part of the day so far. Thank you all for participating. Let's get to some of them before we head back to some more of this player reaction that we have been rolling throughout the last couple of hours or so. So taking a look here on your screen, Bria, sister versus brother today. Go Chiefs. I love a good brother-sister rivalry. I have a brother myself, and I'm always trying to go for whoever he's not going for because I think it makes it that much more fun. We have another one here. Even better. Claire and Luke in North Carolina, twin rivalry. And not even the twins can agree on who is going to win in the Super Bowl. It's all in good fun, though, right? This is why these games are just so much fun, and even better when you have twins, brothers and sisters, close friends and family rooting for separate teams. Thank you all so much for submitting these photos. This is Fenris, Daniel Cintrone over in Mount Laurel there. All right, I don't know who's, that's obviously an Eagles jersey there, but I'm thinking he's enjoying this pizza a lot more, which is also what I'm going to enjoy today, some pizza. That's the fun of the Super Bowl. Thank you all for submitting these photos. They are great. I love the interaction that we're getting with our viewers. Remember that we want you to be part of this big Super Bowl Sunday coverage. So continue to send those photos. livenowfox.com/connect. In the meantime, I do want to continue to listen in to some more of these major players ahead of the Super Bowl today. Several of these media availabilities that they had during the week. Another look at the Caesars Superdome there in New Orleans. So just before the commercial break, we heard from Eagles QB Jalen Hurts talking about what he feels needs to be done, what the Eagles have in their corner to get that win ahead against the Chiefs later today. So next, let's go back to some more of this Chiefs commentary. We're going to be hearing from Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. He is my mom's favorite player. I hope that she's watching. Let's listen in to what Kelce had to say before today.
Hey, Travis, you've talked a lot about Andy Reid as a leader, but, you joined with him before the current run, before he had the current resume. When you walk into a room for the first time, how does he command it? How does he show it? What's his aura like? And do you have any good stories from early in your career about learning just about his leadership style and seeing it stand out?
Well, I got a heads up from my brother, right? My brother was with him in Philly for a couple of years, and the biggest thing is my brother was like, take advantage of the opportunity. He's an unbelievable coach. He's a player's coach, but at the same time, he's going to hold you accountable. And I think the first really year to 2 years I was with Coach Reid, I was like, man, this guy's not messing around. Like, there wasn't too much of the personality that I see now, knowing that he's like a father figure to me. He's like, I don't know, one of my uncles growing up that I respect so much because of who he is. And I owe everything to that man and my career and where it's gone, where I was at Cincinnati and where I am now, man. I have nothing but respect for Coach Reid and how he's helped me get to where I am in life.
Hi, Travis. Riley Trujillo with the Sporting News. Travis, Jason and Kylie have been playing coy about who they're rooting for this week.
They know exactly who they're rooting for.
But Kylie did mention that your nieces are going to be wearing shirts that say "Go Uncle Trav." Can you kind of talk about your relationship with them and what that support means for you?
Jason and Kylie are, I love them to death. This game isn't going to get in between how much I love them. And the fact that the girls are going to be wearing a Go Uncle Travis shirt, it warms my heart and gives me, something else to fight for. And hopefully I can make them proud and put a few smiles on their faces throughout the game.
Hey, Trav, I just want to know what you have come to learn and grown to admire about Taylor Swift's work ethic.
Her work ethic?
Yeah.
What I saw on that tour last year was pretty remarkable. I mean, to see the week in, week out, traveling from one country to the next, and, how excruciating it is on her body and on her mind. And it's not just her, it was her entire, tour. It was the dancers, it was the band, the singers, it was everybody involved, and it was an absolute machine. And it was something I could admire watching and take a lot of notes from.
Hey, Travis, over here.
There's a whole bunch of people's hands up. Go ahead and just hit it. Yeah, thank you. Gotcha. Adam, what's going on?
Hey, you said the other night you plan to play next year and maybe beyond as well. What's left for you the rest of your career? And I'll have a quick follow-up.
Yeah, I got a full heart of football left in me. I really love this game, and I think throughout the year it can get pretty tough, but it's moments like these, the playoffs, these memories that I'll have with the teammates and coaches that I go to war with, and wanting to keep that legacy or keep finding new ways to create those memories, I think will I don't know, just keep fueling me and my love for football, man.
You see your role changing at all?
I feel like this year I kind of stepped into a role of being more of a voice for the guys. I mean, we have a lot of new faces, whether it was guys that we picked up in the offseason or guys we picked up throughout the season. Obviously, Kareem and Juju have been here. They understand the culture and everything, but just being able to be there for the young guys and help them understand the offense better and hopefully and man, they're very physical. So it's going to be our biggest challenge yet, and I haven't even talked about the D-line yet. Their D-line is one of the best in the league, and it's going to be a fun challenge, man. I love going up against the best. It's why I play the game, and sure enough, we got two Goliaths going at it at the Super Bowl, man.
Travis, a lot of the guys talk about how you are in practice and just the tone that you set in practice. Is that something you're consciously aware of? Is that one of the reasons you're like that? Is it the joy of the game? Can you take me through your motivation every day?
Man, you know what? Early on in my career, I think a lot of my motivation was driven off of individual success, wanting to get that acknowledgement of my peers, of the people watching the game, that I was, I was somebody fun to watch, or I was worth watching, or I was worth, having on your team. And nowadays, I just love going to work with the guys that I'm in the building with. I love sharing these memories. I love, figuring out these game plans, figuring out how we're going to attack a defense. There's just a certain love that I've found in it, and I think it's because of the people that I go to work with.
Hi, Travis. So over here, sorry. You've been such a big media personality, and obviously with having Taylor Swift as your girlfriend and your podcast and everything you do, you're just so big in the media. How do you manage being such a big media personality with also maintaining being such a high caliber athlete?
Well, I think everything in the media is fun. You gotta treat it as it's all entertainment. So you're trying to either put a smile on somebody's face or give a good intake on what's at stake. And I think my balance is you got to take yourself out of the media world and into reality whenever you're not doing media. And what's real is the people around you, your loved ones, your family, your support system. Who are you to them, and how is that affecting your life? And I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure you always take a step back and see what's real. And and what's around you.
Travis, on your left. Take you back just a little bit to 2015 when you guys started 1-5. Do you remember what it was like going through that time and how you got through it, and to what degree you might see that as kind of a bridge to what you guys are doing now?
The last time I was in New Orleans, you're talking about?
No, when you started the season 1-5.
Oh, okay.
That loss at Minnesota was the last of those before you started turning it around. What the sort of feeling was and how you managed to make your way back that season with 11 straight wins?
I think the biggest thing is just understanding how to come together. The team atmosphere or the culture in Kansas City is unlike anything else, and I think that's a nod to Coach Reed and how he's day in, day out the leader of that building, and he sets challenges each and every single week for the team to be able to attack. And, I think over the course of a season, you find yourself slowly climbing the staircase of success and finding how to better yourself, to better your teammates, how to be more accountable for the people around you. And I think Coach Reed has a better grasp on that than anybody in the league.
Hi, Travis. Skylar with People. Your mom famously showed her support for you and Jason when you guys were both in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Now that Jason's retired and the Chiefs and you are playing in the Super Bowl against the Eagles again, will she be famously rocking that split jersey? I'm curious what her support is there now that Jason's retired.
I mean, I would hope she didn't have the split jersey this time. Philly reeled in my entire family on this one. No, I think she'll be wearing red. I think everybody outside of Jason and Kylie are going to be wearing all red.
Will she be making you those famous cookies again?
Oh, you know it. You know it. Never playing the Super Bowl without them.
Travis, here in the center, in the middle. There's been a lot of noise about you guys being helped in some way or another to get here. Why do you think people is so bothered by other success?
I don't know. I feel like I've been there before, and I used to look at the Patriots like that, and I used to have the desire to have the success that they had. I don't necessarily remember, hating on them as much, but I definitely remember wanting the desire or having the desire to be like them for sure, and to be at the top of the mountain and to be, year in, year out, the standard in the NFL. And yeah, it's come a long way, I guess.
Yeah, hey Travis, over here. I've heard a lot of people say you practice like you play. Is that something that was learned for you, or is it something just that's come natural to you from the time you started playing football?
It's definitely something I learned over the course of my career. Coach Reed keeps you accountable in that aspect. He's got the quote-unquote old school mentality. He's an old school football coach where you're going to put the work in. You're going to bring your lunch pail to work every single day and grind it out. And those are how you find real answers. You don't practicing 100 miles per hour is the only way you find that timing with the quarterbacks. You find that feel for the defenses and the zones that you got to find. And as an offense, there's no better reps that you can get than full speed reps, man.
Hey Travis, I was curious after the AFC Championship game, Nicky Ormigio said you went up to him after his fair catch and said that's not being great. Then he broke off a long punt return after that. How often do you pick your spots to do that, or you talk to guys a lot during the game, trying to inspire them?
I don't remember telling him he wasn't great on that play. I just remember telling him be great. Who Nico is as a returner is, he's a special player. And I thought he could have stole a few more yards, or at least not have gone for the fair catch there. And, I didn't realize at the moment he was doing it because he didn't feel comfortable in returning that. And it's like, by all means, do your job, dog. If you don't feel comfortable returning that thing, don't do it. And sure enough, he went out there the next time, had a huge play for us, and I was so happy for him. I was the first guy to run over to him and get hyped for him and tell him he was being great. So I got all the love in the world for Nico, and I definitely trust everything he's doing back there. I don't know if I challenge guys individually. I think I'm naturally just on the sidelines making sure everybody has the sense of urgency to, get excited about their job for sure.
Travis, Will Compton with Bussin' with the Boys. Earlier this year when you broke the franchise record, you seemed to not really hit the dunk on the field goal post. and then every time you seem to hit the open field, you might be getting hogged down. I'm not saying it, but I think a lot of people would like to know if you feel like you've lost a step.
It's motivation right there, isn't it? I've been eating clean. I haven't been drinking as much. I'm a little lower on the pounds this week, so hopefully I can run away from some Eagles out there. But I also saw you run your 40 the other day, and we might be in the same boat, bud. Shout out to Bussin', baby.
You have a lot of attention for the media outside and inside of the field. How do you deal with that? And does it affect in positive or give you a lot of pressure? And will you have a special routine this Saturday before the game to the Super Bowl?
I really don't have too many crazy routines. I really just show up to the game ready to play some football and ready to go, you know, all out for the guys that I'm playing with. And yeah, I don't know. I've never really developed those routines. And to answer the other question, it goes back to kind of like what's real. You know, who are you as a person? What are the people around you, your loved ones think of you, and things like that. And I think you know, I think I like to believe that I do things the right way. So yeah, I'm very confident in that.
Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
You just heard there from Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce speaking to the media ahead of the Super Bowl game tonight. And on your screen, I continue to showcase this question that we have posed to our viewers as to who they think will win Super Bowl MVP today. So the numbers continue to fluctuate greatly here as more of these responses come in. So far, we're seeing Travis Kelce up with 28%, a little low there. And what's interesting is that the Associated Press has ranked Kelce as the NFL's top tight end 2 years in a row. Of course, Kelce is Mahomes' most trusted pass catcher, so you can expect to hear both of those names in tandem a lot during tonight's game. Something else that folks are really focused on is the fact that Travis Kelce's superstar girlfriend, Taylor Swift, she will be at the game, but she's not the only high-profile figure set to attend the Super Bowl tonight. Taking a look at this live picture that we're just getting in, the tarmac over there in New Orleans, as we are seeing President Donald Trump officially touch down in the city ahead of becoming the first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl in history. And the president, also speaking exclusively to Fox News' Brett Baer, has revealed who he thinks is going to come out on top during tonight's game. We'll have that for you after the break. Welcome back to Championship Sunday Now. My name is Karal Lahara, and we have got you covered for everything you need to know about Super Bowl 59 happening tonight. Kickoff at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Want to bring us back to this live picture that I showcased just before the commercial break, as we are seeing here President Donald Trump officially landing in New Orleans, set to attend the Super Bowl tonight, becoming the first sitting U.S. president to do so. Now, earlier, we also heard, well, during the week, really, so much about these security plans that have to be put in place, not just for the president, but of course, to keep everyone that's down there in New Orleans safe so that they can watch the game and have a good time doing so. Still, though, the U.S. Secret Service, which is responsible for protecting the president, said in a statement on Tuesday that it has staff on the ground for days preparing for the president's visit. Now, he will be catching the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Philadelphia Eagles tonight. Spokesperson for the Secret Service had said, quote, extensive planning and coordination have been in place to ensure the safety of all attendees going on. Now, we do have a snippet of part of that interview. Its entirety will be airing tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox News. But in this little snippet that we have between Bret Baier and President Trump, the president did kind of say who he thought was going to win at tonight's game. We're going to keep this live picture on your screen, but at the same time, I do want to showcase part of that interview next.
Now, welcome to Mar-a-Lago, the winter White House in Palm Beach, Florida. We're pleased to be joined by the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Happy Super Bowl.
Thank you.
You know, you are going to be the first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl. It's a big day for America, always is. What made you want to do it?
Well, first of all, I'm very surprised to hear that. I would have assumed many presidents came, but I think just the spirit of the country's taken on a whole new life. I thought it would be a good thing for the country to have the president be at the game.
I mean, it's an iconic day.
It's an iconic day. It's going to be a great game, two great teams, and let's see what happens.
You know, it seems the first days of this administration are like a no-huddle offense. You know, plays going down the field, one after another. There's a long list of things you've already got done in 3 weeks. Big border policy changes, ICE crackdowns on criminals, taking biological men out of women and girls' sports, big energy policy changes. So what's different with you and your administration? The difference between the 45th president and the 47th president?
Well, with the 45th, I had tremendous opposition, but I didn't know people, and I didn't have the kind of support that I needed. I put people in office, some really great ones, but I had some that I wouldn't have put. I would have, you know, known better if it were a couple of years later, or if I had a little more experience in D.C. I was a New York person, not a D.C. person. And I had a lot of opposition. I just noticed, I looked on the stage for the recent inauguration, and I'm looking, it's like a who's who of Washington. Well, if you look on the stage for the first one, it was just the opposite.
So some of your plays have raised some questions and had some pushbacks. 19 states' attorneys general filed a lawsuit, and early Saturday, a judge agreed with them to restrict Elon Musk and his government efficiency team, Doge, from accessing Treasury Department payment and data systems. They said there was a risk of irreparable harm. What do you make of that? And does that slow you down on what you want to do?
No, I disagree with it 100%. I think it's crazy. And we have to solve the efficiency problem. We have to solve the fraud, waste, abuse, all the things that have gone into the government. You take a look at the USAID, the kind of fraud in there,
and you
where
found
the money's
significant
going.
things.
Well, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of money that's going to places where it shouldn't be going, where if I read a list, you'd say, this is ridiculous, and you've read the same lists, and there are many that you haven't even seen. It's crazy. It's a big scam. Now, there's some good money, and we can do that through any one of a number. I think I'd rather give it to Marco Rubio over at the State Department. Let him take care of the few good ones. So I don't know if it's kickbacks or what's going on, but the people, look, I ran on this, and the people want me to find it. And I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him to do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. But I campaigned on this, Brett.
You announced tariffs on Canada and Mexico. You immediately got action from both of them on border security and drug interdiction.
I did. A lot of action that nobody expected.
Is that good enough?
No, it's not good enough.
So more needed in 30 days.
Something has to happen. It's not sustainable. And I'm changing it.
You know, the Prime Minister said this weekend to a group of Canadian businessmen, he was at a private meeting, he said that your wish for Canada to be the 51st state is a, quote, real thing. Is it a real thing?
Yeah, it is. I think Canada would be much better off being a 51st state because we lose $200 billion a year with Canada, and I'm not going to let that happen. It's too much. Why are we paying $200 billion a year, essentially in subsidy to Canada? Now, if they're a 51st state, I don't mind doing it.
You said the tariff is a beautiful word. There are some signs in the markets, consumer confidence, that they're a little jittery. So if all goes to plan, when do you think families will be able to feel prices going down, groceries, energy, or are you kind of saying to them, hang on. Inflation may get worse until it gets better.
No, I think we're going to become a rich. Look, we're not that rich right now. We owe $36 trillion. That's because we let all these nations take advantage of us. Same thing, like $200 billion with Canada. We owe 300. We have a deficit with Mexico of $350 billion. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let that happen.
Sports has always been something that Americans rally around to come together. They really do. You won the popular vote. You won all the swing states. Have you thought about how to try to bring the country together, to reach out or to find common ground? Have you thought about that or how that might go?
I'd love to do it, but I would say this. We have to come together, but to come together, there's only one thing that's going to do it, and that's massive success. Success will bring the country together, but it's hard. And I say it's hard. I just signed a bill allowing for women not to have to be punished by men in sports. In other words, men are not going to be allowed to play in sports against women. It's ridiculous.
You're a sports guy. You're a football fan. Size up these two teams.
I'm a big fan of both teams. They're sort of different. In Philadelphia, you have one of the greatest running backs, Saquon. You know, Saquon had an uncle who was a great fighter, and Iran Barkley, his name was. So you have a great running back. You really have a great quarterback. The other team, the quarterback really knows how to win. He is a great, great quarterback.
So game prediction?
I hate to do it. I just say that I've watched this great quarterback who has, by the way, a phenomenal wife, okay? She's a Trump fan. She's a MAGA fan, so I happen to love her, okay? But she's a great person. I watched her being interviewed. I said, boy, that's pretty good. But she's great, and he's great. I guess you have to say that when a quarterback wins as much as he's won, I have to go with Kansas City. I have to go with Kansas City. At the same time, Philadelphia has a fantastic game. It's going to be just a great game.
Finally, listen, you are the most recognized person in the world, likely the most imitated person in the world. Every comedian has Donald Trump imitation, everyone. But now you have UFC fighters winning fights, NFL players doing the Trump dance.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that was going to be a thing?
No, I didn't. I mean, we do these rallies. They've always been great, but they got really great. And it's just, I don't know what it is. I try and walk off sometimes without dancing, and I can't. I have to dance because it's just got something special about it.
Mr. President, thanks for the time.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy the game.
Okay, so we heard there part of President Donald Trump's interview with Fox News' Bret Baier. And that was, of course, recorded ahead of him attending the Super Bowl. A live picture down there on the tarmac in New Orleans, as you saw him deplane, get off of Air Force One, step into this vehicle, and alongside him was his daughter, Ivanka Trump. We can continue to see him here as well. Speaking on the phone, we know that security has really been ramped up ahead of the president's visit and attendance to the Super Bowl. He is becoming the first sitting U.S. president to do so in history. So I just want to stay on this shot for a little moment here, continue to discuss the fact that the president did say during that interview toward the end of it that he believes that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to come out on top, saying, quote, I guess you have to say that when a quarterback wins as much as he's won, referring to Patrick Mahomes, I have to go with Kansas City. Mahomes is, quote, really knows how to win. He's a great quarterback. So we're just seeing this caravan of Secret Service vehicles kind of disappear from sight there. Before we head to a brief commercial break, I do want to bring up this post. This was posted on X, and it includes a statement from the White House here regarding the president and his thoughts on the Super Bowl today. I will read part of it saying, I look forward to joining the fans in New Orleans for Super Bowl 59 to cheer on two great teams, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, as they battle for the National Football League's Vince Lombardi Trophy. The coaches, players, and team staff on the field tonight represent the best of the best in professional football, but they also embody the best of the American dream. Their hard work, dedication, and tenacity is admirable, and their individual journeys are as inspiring as the drive and determination that has led them to this extraordinary moment. They also represent the hopes and dreams of our nation's young athletes as we restore safety and fairness in sports and equal opportunities among their teams. So that is just part of that statement. A live now look back out there at the tarmac in New Orleans after we just saw President Trump land for the big game. We'll be right back. Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. Now, before we continue on with some more of our Super Bowl game day coverage, I do want to bring on some breaking news in regards to President Donald Trump and some of the policies that he's trying to bring forth. Taking a look here at a post on X from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, saying here moments ago on Air Force One, President Trump signed a proclamation declaring February 9th Gulf of America Day while flying over the newly and appropriately named Gulf of America. Just moments ago, we did see the president land in New Orleans. So this entire breaking news situation happened while he was on Air Force One before touching down in New Orleans. There's also a quick video posted to social media of the president making some remarks regarding this news. I'd like to play it for you next.
And we're flying right over it right now. So we thought this would be appropriate. Even bigger than the Super Bowl. This is a big thing. And almost everybody now has assented to that.
Attention on board. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention out the right side of the aircraft. Air Force One is currently in international waters, for the first time in history, flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America. Please enjoy the flight, and we are now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
Wow, he did that well. That's a good Make America great again, right? That's what we care about. Okay, here we go. So this is a famous pen now.
All right, well, you have it, a short video there from President Donald Trump. And in fact, we're getting another video into our newsroom right now. I do believe this is playback. Let's go ahead and watch this ahead of tonight's Super Bowl game. Let's take a look.
Change from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
And we're flying right over it right now. So we thought this would be appropriate. Even bigger than the Super Bowl. This is a big thing. And almost everybody now has assented to that.
Attention on board. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention out the right side of the aircraft. Air Force One is currently in international waters, for the first time in history, flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America. Please enjoy the flight, and we are now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
Wow, he did that well. That's a good job. He did, isn't that nice? You know, we're about make America great again, right? That's what we care about. Okay, here we go. So this is a famous pen now, and we'll put it with something. I'll ask you to do whatever you think we should do with it, Mr. Secretary. Do you want to talk about, you know, Doug, Secretary of the Interior, and also working with Chris Wright on extracting vast amounts of oil and gas and making our country rich? Would you like to say something?
Well, with the Gulf of America, this is a historic day. We want to thank President Trump. His executive order is what set this in motion. We signed a secretarial order as Secretary of Interior directing the U.S. Geologic Survey, who is responsible for the database, which is the Geographic Names Informational System. And so just prior to this signing, if you will, the button was pushed. It became official with this proclamation to call today Gulf of America Day, but now it's going out. As we're sitting here right now, our team is calling all the map providers, so Google Maps, Apple Maps, all the map people. That change will take effect this afternoon to Gulf of America. So again, fantastic. Thank you, President Trump, for setting this all in motion with your executive order. It's an exciting, fun day, and great to do this as we're flying over the Gulf of America.
We thought it would be very appropriate. Catherine, thank you very much for being here.
So happy.
Been a very important part of his life. And who knows what would have happened to him without you. It might not have been good. Here you go. Okay.
Have you talked to Mexico about this?
Actually, interestingly, I've never spoken to him about it. It was our call. And I have not spoken to him about, I've spoken to him about many other things, but I haven't really talked to him about this. They have never brought it up. I'm a little surprised at that, but they've never brought it up.
Sir, can you tell us about your conversation with Vladimir Putin?
I don't want to do that now. No. We're trying to end that war. It's a war that would have never happened if I were president. It would have never happened. But we're making progress, but I can't tell you.
You suffered a couple of court losses, Mr. President, and J.D. Vance said judges aren't allowed to control the executive power. What's your take on that?
Well, we're going to see what happens. We have a long way to go, and we're talking about fraud, waste, abuse, and when a president can't look for fraud and waste and abuse, we don't have a country anymore. So we're very disappointed with the judges that would make such a ruling, but we have a long way to go. We have to look, we have to find all of the fraud that's going on. We have tremendous fraud, tremendous waste, and tremendous abuse, and theft, by the way. And the day you're not allowed to look for theft and fraud, etc., then we don't have much of a country. So no judge should frankly be allowed to make that kind of a decision. It's a disgrace.
Mr. President, a few years ago, Gulf of America, Canada, Greenland, Gaza, all these are very muscular foreign policy. How does this align with America first?
Because it makes us bigger, stronger, and better, and more protective. We need Greenland because of national security, international security, world peace. And we'll have to do that. Canada, we'll see what happens with Canada, but the people of Canada would be paying less than half of the tax. If you look at the tax, they're going to be paying less than half the tax. You know, they don't pay very much for military, and the reason they don't pay much is they assume that we're going to protect them. That's not an assumption they can make, because why are we protecting another country? Now, I love the people of Canada. We have a great relationship. But if they became our 51st state, it would be the greatest thing they could ever do. It would be unbelievable. It would be a cherished state. And think of how beautiful that country would be without that artificial line running right through it. Somebody drew it many years ago with a ruler, just a line. You look at how beautiful that is, wow, it would be very exciting. But if you look at Canada, it would be cherished as a 51st state. They don't pay their share of military in NATO. They pay very little for military. They're not protected at all. And the reason is they think we're going to protect them. The other thing is we subsidize them to the tune of about $200 billion a year. If we stop doing that, if we stop allowing them to make cars through tariffs and other things, cars, trucks, etc., what they make, they're not viable as a country.
So would you agree that it's a more aggressive foreign policy than your first term? And why is that?
It's more aggressive. It's better. Why? Because I think I've had a lot of experience. And in my first term, I was fighting everybody because they were very aggressive toward me. I always said survival and taking care of the country, not necessarily in that order. But I had to take care of the country, but I had a bunch of lunatics like Pelosi and all of these people. They fought me, and we won. And, you know, I had a lot of other things that were going on there. This time it's much more, they've lost their confidence. I think they've lost the respect of the American people with, you know, men participating in women's sports, with open borders, with transgender for everybody, for all the things that they're doing is so bad. When you allow people to empty their jails into your country with prisoners, killers, their mental institutions and insane asylums into our country, this is what they're doing. When you allow gang members from Venezuela, but many other countries coming into our country,
We're getting them all out now. They've lost their credibility, but they've also lost their confidence. So I have more time to do what I want to do. So we're making our country larger. We're making our country stronger. And in the case of Canada, if this should happen, I don't know how they can do it without us, because without the U.S., Canada really doesn't have a country. They do almost all of their business with us. And if we say we want our cars to be made in Detroit, with the stroke of a pen, I can do that. And other things in addition to that would not allow Canada to be a viable country.
You said you're going to honor first responders today, but you pardoned hundreds of people who assaulted first responders. Why did you do that?
Who? I'm sorry?
You were going to meet with first responders today.
Yeah.
But you pardoned people who assaulted first responders.
No, I pardoned people that were assaulted themselves. They were assaulted by our government. I pardoned J6 people who were assaulted by our government. That's who assaulted, and they were treated unfairly. There's never been a group of people in this country, outside of maybe one instance that I can think of, but I won't get into it, that were treated more horribly than the people of J6. So, no, I didn't assault. They didn't assault. They were assaulted. And what I did was a great thing for humanity. They were treated very, very unfairly. There's never been an incident like it.
Two foreign policy questions. On Putin again, you realize if you don't clarify that, everyone's going to assume you're talking to President Putin regularly?
Well, they can assume that.
So is it safe?
It makes sense. Well, I don't want to talk about it. And if we are talking, I don't want to tell you about the conversation. It's too early. But I do believe we're making progress. We want to stop the Ukraine-Russia war. And I want to stop it just because I hate to see all these young people being killed. The soldiers are being killed by the hundreds of thousands.
So you're starting to put together a plan for like a peace formula or some sort of resolution?
We're talking to both sides. Yeah.
Okay. And then on Japan, are you okay with having a foreign country having a controlling interest in a U.S. steel company?
Well, let's look at this. When I came here, they were going to buy it, and Biden was going to approve it. All of a sudden, Biden didn't because he heard I wasn't going to. I don't want U.S. steel being owned by a foreign country.
Interest is okay?
They can have they don't have a controlling. They have an investment. All they're going to have is an investment.
Will it be a joint?
I don't mind an investment in a company, but especially U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel for 15 years was the greatest company in the world, the greatest #1 company in the world, and I'm not going to let another country buy it. We had a great meeting on that, but they are allowed to invest in it, and that's different.
Mr. President, on tariffs, sir, you've talked about reciprocal tariffs coming in this week. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? And are you announcing a plan for it this week?
Yeah, I'll be announcing.
Kick in this week.
I'll be announcing probably Tuesday or Wednesday at a news conference reciprocal tariffs, and very simply, it's if they charge us, we charge them. That's all.
When does it go into effect, sir?
Almost immediately, but I'll be announcing the details of it, highly detailed, and it'll be great for everybody, including the other countries. But if they are charging us 130% and we're charging them nothing, it's not going to stay that way.
This is on every country?
Every country will be reciprocal, that's right.
Mr. President, can you confirm that
won't affect everybody because there's somewhere we have similar tariffs. But the ones that are taking advantage of the United States, we're going to have it's reciprocity, it's reciprocal. We're going to have a reciprocal tariff. But we'll have a news conference Tuesday or Wednesday.
And just on the steel question, just so I understand.
We'll also be announcing steel tariffs on Monday.
On this, tomorrow?
Monday, yeah, tomorrow.
What countries will those go on?
Everybody. Steel.
Including Canada, Mexico,
yeah.
United States?
Any steel coming into the United States is going to have a 25% tariff.
What about aluminum, sir?
Aluminum too.
10%?
No, 25%.
25 for aluminum.
25 for both.
For both. And on steel, sir, are you ruling out then Nippon Steel having a 51% stake or higher? They won't have a majority stake?
Nobody can have a majority stake for U.S. Steel. They can for other companies, but not for U.S. Steel. I think you agree with that, Doug, right? U.S. Steel was one of our great companies, and through a lot of stupidity and bad government and also bad management of the company, it lost that luster. But it's going to gain it back, and tariffs are going to help. Tariffs are going to make it very successful again. And I think it is good management now, too. Yeah.
Sorry, may I ask one, please? Can you tell me, can you confirm that you'll be meeting with MBS and Sisi of Egypt soon? Will that be at the White House? Or are you going to speak?
Well, I'll be meeting with all of them numerous times, by the way, but I'll be meeting with all of them. And yeah, I think that it's a big mistake to allow people, the Palestinians or the people living in Gaza, to go back yet another time. And we don't want Hamas going back. And think of it as a big real estate site. And the United States is going to own it and will slowly, very slowly, we're in no rush, develop it. We're going to bring stability to the Middle East, to a totally war-torn part of the Middle East, a part of the Middle East that has caused tremendous problem, the Gaza Strip, and we'll own it. It's totally demolished right now. It's a demolition site. It'll be reclaimed. It'll be leveled out, fixed up. There won't be anybody there. Hamas won't be there. We'll be building through other of the very rich countries in the Middle East. They'll be building some beautiful sites for the people, for the Palestinians to live in. They'll be living in harmony and peace probably for the first time in hundreds of years.
And just to clarify, I know you don't want to tell us about your conversation with President Putin, but can you clarify whether you had that since you've been in office, or whether it happened before you became president?
I've had it. Let's just say I've had it. And I expect to have many more conversations. We have to get that war ended. It's going to end, and we have to get it ended. And we have to get it ended. So should have never happened, would have never happened if I was president.
Mr. President, a couple of years ago, your vice president said that suggested that if the Supreme Court rules in a way you don't like, just let them enforce it. Do you agree with that?
Say the last part.
The vice president suggested that if the Supreme Court rules in a way that you don't like, they can just enforce it by themselves. Do you agree with that?
I don't know even what you're talking about. Neither do you. Who are you with?
Up close, sir.
Who?
Up close.
No wonder. I thought they died. Are they still around? I haven't read them in years. I thought they died. All right, go ahead. Who else?
Well, on security clearances, you've been yanking a lot of them. Why does it make the country safer to take away the AG security clearance? And is that a form of retribution?
If there's somebody, no. If there are people that we don't respect, if there are people that we thought that were breaking the law or came very close to it in previous years, we do it. And we've done it with some people. We've done it with Biden himself. We think our country is not as safe if you gave him clearance. We don't think he knows what he's doing. And what he's done to this country is a disgrace. And what he's done in terms of allowing criminals, murderers, drug lords into our country, people from mental institutions into our country, he should be ashamed of himself.
Is that a valid reason? On deportations, there's been some reporting that you've been upset that there haven't been more deportations. Can you clarify that?
I think they're doing an incredible job. It's very tough. Deportations, finding murderers is not easy. Some of them are actually very smart. They shouldn't be in our country. There wouldn't have been. We had beautiful, we just set records for closure. We have the strongest border we've had in many years, since my term. But even for many, many years, decades before that. They're doing an amazing job, I think. Tom Homan's doing an amazing job. Kristi Noem is doing an amazing job. But it's not easy finding murderers who know they're being looked for. But we're sending out thousands of people. We're getting rid of thousands of criminals from our country.
So, do you expect to meet him in person?
Where?
Putin. Do you anticipate meeting with him?
I would imagine I would be meeting with Putin, yes, at the right time. I think at the right time, at the appropriate time.
Mr. President, about Gaza, the White House press secretary told us last week that you're committed to rebuilding Gaza. Steve Witkoff said that process would take 10 to 15 years. Does your commitment to rebuilding Gaza extend beyond your time in office?
I'm committed to buying and owning Gaza. As far as us rebuilding it, we may give it to other states in the Middle East to build sections of it. Other people may do it through our auspices. But we're committed to owning it, taking it, and making sure that Hamas doesn't move back. There's nothing to move back into. The place is a demolition site. It'll be, the remainder will be demolished. Everything's demolished. I mean, you can't live in those buildings right now. They're very unsafe. But we'll make it into a very good site for future development by somebody. We'll let other countries develop parts of it. It'll be beautiful. People can come from all over the world and live there. But we're going to take care of the Palestinians. We're going to make sure they live beautifully and in harmony and in peace, and that they're not murdered. This has been the most dangerous site anywhere in the world to live in. Hamas has been a disaster. And by the way, I have to tell you that I watched the hostages come back today, and they look like Holocaust survivors. They were in horrible condition. They were emaciated. It looked like many years ago, the Holocaust survivors. And I don't know how much longer we can take that when I watch that. I know we have a deal where we're supposed to they dribble in and keep dribbling in, but they are in really bad shape. They have been treated brutally, horribly. Even the ones that came out earlier, they were in a little bit better shape, but mentally they were treated so badly. Who could take that? You know, at some point, we're going to lose our patience. When I see that scene that I saw today with people coming out of helicopters and airplanes that are emaciated, that look like they haven't had a meal in a month, there's no reason for that, and I don't know how much longer we can take it.
Do you mean you want to recast?
I don't know how long we can take it. When I watch people that were healthy people a reasonably short number of years ago, and you look at them today, they look like they've aged 25 years. They literally look like the old pictures of Holocaust survivors. The same thing. I mean, the same thing. And I don't know how long we're going to take that.
Mr. President, have you gotten some advancement in your proposals for some of the Gulf or Arab nations to take some of the Palestinian people? And if not, like, what do you think the reason is for their hesitance? Is there some very honest reason that they've even told you privately, or that you think why they're hesitant to take the Palestinian people?
Why are they hesitant to take them? Because they never spoke to me. They spoke to other people. They didn't speak to me. When they speak to me, they're going to take them.
Is it because they think that you would not allow them to return to Gaza?
No.
Is that part of it?
They don't want to return to Gaza. If we could give them a home in a safer area, the only reason they're talking about returning to Gaza is they don't have an alternative. When they have an alternative, they don't want to return to Gaza. If they had a home that was safe, where you don't have Hamas threatening them, killing them, torturing them, they'd rather not return to Gaza. But right now, Gaza is the only alternative. As far as the other regions, the only reason they maybe don't act enthusiastic is they haven't talked to me. They talk to other people, but not to me. When they talk to me, they'll be enthusiastic.
And on spending, you found some maybe questionable expenditures, or Elon Musk has
Not
found
some questionable. The whole country looks like it's a fraud. It's fraud, waste, abuse, but it's a tremendous fraud. And what Elon and his group of geniuses have found is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And that's just in USAID. Soon we're going into education. You'll find the same thing, but bigger. Soon we're going into the military, and you're going to find a lot of bad things happening there. You'll find it because our government has not functioned properly for many, many years, and we're going to make it function properly. We're even looking at treasuries. There could be a problem. You've been reading about that with treasuries. And that could be an interesting problem, because it could be that a lot of those things don't count. In other words, that some of that stuff that we're finding is very fraudulent. Therefore, maybe we have less debt than we thought of. Think of that. So a lot of things are happening, but Elon's doing an excellent job. We started with 12 guys with high IQs, and now we have 100 guys with very high IQs.
Do you think Congress has failed to do their oversight, or do you think your first administration, some of your cabinet agencies?
I think everybody failed. I think everybody failed.
And why does Elon's financial disclosure remain secret?
Because nobody's looking at that. We're looking at all the corruption that's taken place. I mean, his financial disclosure is largely the number of shares that he's got in very public companies, and that's not secret at all. If you read that, you'll see a lot. I mean, he talks about his whole thing. I read one where really gave a very good history of him. But basically, it's a number of shares times a certain stock price.
So why is that not public?
It is public. All you have to do is read it.
So on USAID, sir, what is kind of like the message to countries that depend on humanitarian aid distributed through USAID? What is your message to those countries?
The ones that have been, the few that have been legitimate in terms of getting legitimate money, will probably put it through the State Department. It'll be handled by Marco Rubio, highly respected man, Secretary of State. There's no reason for USAID, when you look at the politicians that have been in there sucking the blood out of it, when you look at all of the fake deals, I mean, look, all you have to do is get a list of all of the things you can see by the heading. It's fake, it's fraudulent, it's probably kickbacks, where they send the money and then it gets kicked back to the person that sent it. So the ones that are good, and there are not many of them, but the ones that are good, and there are some, will probably have that be handled by Marco Rubio in the State Department.
Will they take on some of the USAID workers?
They could, if they like.
Mr. President,
Will it still be called USAID, Mr. President, or will it not?
I don't know that it's going to exist. Why would you need it? The State Department can take care of it.
Do you think the amount of spending on foreign aid will decrease also, or just the number of employees?
It should decrease, yeah. I hope it decreases.
Yeah, by how much?
When we have $36 trillion in debt, and we're taking care of countries that are very rich and sending aid to countries, in some cases, that are rich, in some cases, they're not rich. But no, it should very much decrease.
Mr. President,
but it won't be the scams that you've seen.
Another cut that NIH put out a memo on Friday night. It's going to cut $4 billion from the percentage that they pay to universities and public colleges in all those states, not foreign countries. $4 billion. Is that okay to take that off the top?
Sure. It could be okay. I mean, you have to look at the universities. Some are legit. You could also say, why are we giving money to Harvard when it's got a $50 billion endowment? $50 billion. And yet they don't use that endowment to help their students.
This is for research, like biomedical research.
That's fine. Look, we want to take care of research. We want to do a lot of things. But when you look at the USAID and you look at all the things and all the scams that was with, I don't have to go through it now, but I'll get you a little list, and you'll see one after another. There were very few legitimate. It was the opposite. Usually you find something wrong, like 1 out of 100, but this is the opposite. Here, almost everything was wrong. You find very few that were good, but there were some that were good. That'll be handled by the State Department, I assume. That's not final yet, but I think the best would be Marco Rubio at the State Department. 1 or 2 more.
You're spending too much on launch services. Is the Pentagon spending too much on launch services to space?
I think space is going to be a very important element. You know, I'm the one that came up with Space Force. I'm very proud of it. Biden tried to get out of it, and he was really rebuked by the military. I think space is going to be one of the most important things we do. It's going to be all about space, especially defense. So space is very important.
Would you accept Palestinian refugees into the United States since you're looking to other countries?
I'd have to look. I think it's a very far distance for them to travel, but I'd have to look at individual cases. But I do think that coming into the United States, we've taken a lot of people, but coming into the United States, it's a long way for them to travel. They're far away from their families and their friends and everything else. I think they'd be very happy staying in the general area with in a place that was safe, where they could be safe and lead a good life. They don't want to go back to Gaza. As I said, I've said it a lot. They only go back because they have no alternative. They don't want to go back to Gaza. So we'll see. We hope that we'll be helped by Egypt. We hope that we'll be helped by Jordan. We hope that we'll be helped by other countries. We hope that some of the, like Saudi Arabia and others, can spend some money on it. They have tremendous amounts of money. They'll spend some money on making people comfortable and safe.
One question about the Super Bowl. You're going to the game. One of the big things that you've done so far in office is cracking down on DEI. I saw that the NFL commissioner said, I think this week, that they're happy with their diversity program. What's your take on that? Would you like to see any changes there?
I don't know what the diversity program is. To be honest, I know Roger very well. I'd have to look at what he said he's happy with. He was happy also with the flag and a lot of other things that didn't work out too well. We'll have to see what he was happy with. But right now, that's, you know what the law is. The law is the law, and it changed, and it's been backed up by the U.S. Supreme Court. But we'll see. There are a lot of interesting things going on right now. I'll tell you what, there's a light over the United States. People are happy. They're more confident. The approval ratings for this country have gone through the sky. More than at any time we've had approval ratings that there's never been anything like it. We've never seen 49 points up. 49 points up. And I think there's a light actually long beyond this country, all over the world. I've been called by other leaders. They said, sir, there's a light over our country right now. There's a light over the world. We got rid of a horrible and a totally inept administration, an administration where the president wouldn't even go and do a Super Bowl interview. For 4 years, I mean, he didn't do a Super Bowl interview. I did. You'll see it in about 1 or 2 hours.
One more time on the refs. Do you have an opinion, sir, on whether the referees have been throwing the games to the Chiefs all season?
I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that.
Why do you want to be chairman of the Kennedy Center Board?
Well, I think you're going to have a great game. It's two great teams. I don't know. Who knows who's going to win? You have great players, though. You have really superstars playing on both teams. So I think it's going to be a great game.
Why do you want to be chairman of the Kennedy Center Board?
Because I want to make sure it runs properly. We don't need woke at the Kennedy Center. We don't need, some of the shows were terrible. They're a disgrace that they were even put on. So I'll be there until such time as it gets to be running right.
Have you seen any shows there? How do you know they're
I didn't go. No, I got reports it was so bad I didn't want to go. There was nothing I wanted to see. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yes, about Modi, sir. About Modi, you're meeting Modi.
I look forward to it. He was great.
Thank you, Franco.
He's a great guy. He's very sad over his mother's passing. He's a great guy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Brett, so you just heard there, what we got was a tape playback of President Donald Trump there aboard Air Force One ahead of landing in New Orleans, Louisiana, as he is set to attend Super Bowl 59 tonight to kick off in just a little bit over an hour, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Now, this entire situation started with the fact, and you see it here on a post on X, from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, saying moments ago on Air Force One, President Trump signed a proclamation declaring February 9th Gulf of America Day while flying over the newly and appropriately named Gulf of America. The president touching on multiple topics, including this one, potential future talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin, also some of the pushback that he has been getting from several lawmakers regarding Elon Musk's role within the federal government, and so many more of those top stories and headlines that we have continued to follow for you here at Live Now from Fox. We do want to step away for a quick commercial break, the first one of this hour. We continue with more of your top stories and continuing coverage of Super Bowl 59 when we come back. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here on Championship Sunday Now. My name is Karel Lahada, and I'll be with you for about the next hour and a half or so as we continue to showcase all of these different live looks in and around New Orleans ahead of Super Bowl 59, officially kickoff at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. I do want to remind everyone that you can watch the Super Bowl in its entirety by just tuning in to any of your Fox local stations. But if you don't have cable, something really special that is happening this year for the first time ever is that you can stream the Super Bowl in its entirety by downloading the free streaming service app Tubi. So you can watch it there. Remember that you can download Tubi either on your smart TV, you can do it on a game console, or on your Roku. And you can catch all of the events there, including the halftime performances. So remember, Tubi, that's your source to go if you don't have cable and you want to stream the game. One of my favorite parts today is really bringing in our viewers to all of this Football Sunday coverage here. And we've been doing that by showcasing several of these megaphone poll questions, asking you guys how you're spending your day. What are you eating, for example? Who are you rooting for to win? But the best part is also some of these viewer photos that we continue to get in to our newsroom. And it's been a little minute since we've showcased some of them. So I got to bring up this one here. Ruby the Scotty, Queen Creek, they're so cute. And she just says, I don't care who wins, just let me have the food. I'm with you, Ruby. I just want everyone to have fun, and I want to feel nice and full while I watch the game. You can send in your photos. Let us know. Show us how you're celebrating the Super Bowl Sunday. What are you eating? Are you with your friends and family? Who are you voting for? Who are the pets voting for? You have a QR code there on the top right-hand side of your screen. You just scan it with your phone. It takes you to the web page where you can submit your photo. You can add your caption, or you can head to livenowfox.com/connect. And you can submit your photos that way. So we look forward to continuing to go through some of these. Takesha Davis in Panama City. So proud of the Kansas City Chiefs. Big fan from Panama City, Florida. 3-peat repeat. It's going to be such a good game because, we got the Chiefs trying to make NFL history here by winning 3 Super Bowls in a row. But then on the other side, you have the Philadelphia Eagles that are coming back with a vengeance, I'm sure. And we have here Jack in Wynwood saying, go Birds. And he is decked out. He is ready to go. This is the kind of energy I'm thinking we're going to see from the Eagles on the field tonight as they look to take this Super Bowl from the Chiefs after losing out to the Chiefs just a couple of Super Bowls ago. So a lot of excitement heading into this game. Please continue to send these photos. One more before we continue with more of this coverage. We got here Molly Simmons from the UK. We're international here, guys, at Live Now from Fox. Molly from the West Sussex in the UK. Let's go Chiefs. #Mahomes. So, see, it's not just people across the country, people all over the world excited about this game, excited about this matchup. Thanks so much, you guys, for being a part of this game day coverage with us here. Speaking of the Chiefs, I've been showcasing throughout the last several hours what these key players have been saying ahead of today's big Super Bowl game. But you can't forget about the coaches of these teams because they're really going to be there guiding their players just to get that win. So let's listen into what some of the coaches had to say, the head coaches. Let's start with Chiefs head coach Andy Reid. This is what he had to say during Media Day earlier this week.
All right, I don't have any injuries for you. Guys are healthy and going, so time's yours.
Coach, first question is about you, which I know is a topic you love to talk about. But your colleagues, players, even before this run began, have always said that you have an aura when you walk in a room that you're in command, you're a leader. What is it about you that gives them that impression, and how did you develop and hone that?
Yeah, that's a tough question, Matt. I don't take that lightly for people to say that, first of all, but I've been put in leadership positions from the time I was younger as team captains and all that stuff, so I've been very fortunate that way. Don't know where it comes from, probably the way I was raised. So I don't have a very good answer for you.
Coach, Danny Limon from Fox Sports. A couple of days ago, I had the opportunity to be with Brett Favre and talk to him, and he speaks highly of you. He told me that he doesn't bet, but that if he would bet for the Chiefs because they have you as a head coach. We know all about your history with the Philadelphia Eagles, but could you tell us a little bit more about being with Brett Favre at the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, so it was a great experience. I was there 7 years at Green Bay. Phenomenal organization, great people. I was around great players, Brett being one of them for sure. I felt like when we were together, he'd go down as one of the all-time greats to play his position, and he's done that. He finished up his career that way. Also around Reggie White, who I felt the same way about, Sterling Sharp the same way about. So we had a ton of these real good players there, and just very fortunate to have had that opportunity. I worked for Mike Holmgren there, who at the time I didn't think anybody did it better as a head coach, or I had a hard time believing anybody did it better. And heck, I've been coaching now for a couple of years as a head coach, and I still feel that same way. So, yeah.
Coach, sorry to make this a trip down memory lane, but when it comes to your time in Green Bay under Mike in that staff and being in Super Bowls, what experiences kind of informed you as you became a head coach later on in your career, and what do you think about Mike's candidacy for the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I mean, I would vote for him for sure. He would be well deserved to be in there. Brett's in there, Ron Wolf's in there, so you get the third part of that group that had such a big influence on the success there is Mike Holmgren. So things changed when he came there, and I thought, you know, every year we were there, we were competitive. Went to a couple Super Bowls. So I think what I took from him was I thought he was a tremendous leader. I thought he was a brilliant guy offensively, but he also had a good feel for both sides of the ball. He understood how important special teams was. I love the way he handled the players. He was tough enough on them, but on the other hand, he, you know, cared about them as guys. So, yeah.
Good morning, Andy. Curious how practice went yesterday, but also how practice maybe this week differs from the regular season, and that you've already installed the game plan.
Yeah, Adam. So practice went good yesterday. We're just going back through and trying to polish things up here this week. Still working hard, but we're going to polish things up from last week, and it'll be a normal late season Thursday today. So,
Coach, here for La Parada, Mexico. Ever since you got Patrick Mahomes, you've beaten Vic Fangio run defenses 9 out of 9 times. What are the intricacies in his game that make you to have such a clear upper hand over him? Or is there like anything you'd like to share about that, or is it just the fact that you have Patrick Mahomes and he doesn't?
Yeah, it's great. It's great to have Patrick Mahomes. So I'm not going to slight that part. He's a great player. Will go down, I'm sure, as he finishes his career. He's still young in this thing, but as he finishes his career, he'll be one of the greats to, if not the greatest, to have done it. But so that definitely helps. I don't want to slight the coaches and his teammates. He's got some good players that he's able to deal the ball to, and whether it's throwing it to him or handing it to him, those big offensive linemen that are helping him out, he appreciates those guys. Took him out to a nice steak dinner the other night, so he appreciates all those guys. And then he's been blessed to have some good defenses that support the other side of him there. So it takes a group, but he's definitely a great one. Yes.
Coach, Taylor Lewan, Bussin' with the Boys.
This side here.
Oh.
Right here. Oh, right here in front. I got guys raising their hand.
Recently, on an episode of Bussin' with the Boys, John Gruden said that you were his biggest rival when it came to play calling in Green Bay. For you, at your point in your career, who do you think is your biggest rival from another head coach standpoint?
Play calling wise, like defensively or offensively?
Either one.
Yeah. Well, this guy we're playing this week is a pretty good defensive coordinator. And I feel like I can't get rid of him. It seems like every year he's once or twice or 3 times he's there, and he does a great job. And then I always say Bill Belichick is probably the best coach I've ever had a chance to go against, and you know, my career as a head coach. So you know, I've enjoyed watching the Lions this year, and the job that their offensive coordinator did there. And now he's the head coach at Chicago. You're doing good, though, man. Yeah.
Andy, over here.
As a historian of the game with the Hall of Fame selection, Jim Tyre, the legendary Texan in chief that played offensive lineman, one of the greatest players to not be in the Hall of Fame according to plenty of people. Just as a historian of the game, your thoughts on his impact and if you think he should be worthy of that selection.
I missed the first part of it.
Jim Tyre.
Yeah.
Jim Tyre. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see these guys that get slighted a bit. That aren't in the Hall of Fame. I mean, there's some older guys that with their records, whether it was shortened by war or whatever, that they haven't been able to get in. His is a unique story, but I think if you just take the purity of his play, I think he probably, he should be in the Hall of Fame. So if you kind of exclude the other things, he should be in there. For sure.
Good morning, Coach.
We're listening here to Chiefs head coach Andy Reid speaking earlier this week to the press ahead of the Super Bowl, but we do have to get in another quick commercial break. We'll continue with more of these remarks next. Welcome back, and thank you all for sticking with us here on our Championship Sunday Now, our Super Bowl Sunday coverage here at Live Now from Fox. My name is Karal Lahada. I have been with you for the last 3 hours. I'll be with you for the next hour or so as we are waiting for kickoff, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Kansas City Chiefs facing off against the Philadelphia Eagles in New Orleans, Louisiana. I do want to remind all of our viewers how you can stream the Super Bowl. So taking a look here, we have a nice little graphic built for all you guys so that you know where you can watch Super Bowl 59. So you can stream it live and free on Tubi. All you have to do is download the Tubi app. Search for it on your smart TV, search for it on your Roku, on any gaming console. And this is the first time ever that the Super Bowl is going to be streamed for free, so it's really special. We do partner a lot with Tubi here at Live Now from Fox, but you can also, if you do have cable, you can watch it on any of your local Fox stations. Super Bowl 59 kicks off 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 p.m. West Coast time, so make sure that you got your Tubi app, or you know where you can tune in just so you can catch this entire game that really so many folks are so excited to watch. Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. I want to go back to my favorite parts of being with you all on this Super Bowl Sunday here at Live Now from Fox, and that's really engaging with all of our viewers across the country and the world, in fact, as you all continue to submit your photos and showcase how you are spending your Super Bowl Sunday. Let's go through some of those right now. So taking a look here, Madeline Walk and Roanoke, go Taylor's boyfriend. And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way, but you know what? As long as everyone is enjoying the game, why not, right? Everyone has their own incentives. And so thanks so much, Madeline, for this picture. This is great. I need to get me a shirt like that. Then we have this one from Amber McCandles in Blackwood. The girls scream Eagles. This has been great because we continue to get all of these viewer photos. I mean, so many Chiefs fans, so many Eagles fans. It's really anyone's game, at least when it comes to who our viewers are most looking forward to seeing here. So thanks, you gals. Loving the cheerleading outfits, loving the pom-poms. We have the Torres household in Chicago with game day. That is a really cute setup with the balloons back there. Ready for kickoff. Is that a plate? Is that a tray? All right. And is that a Bacardi in the background? All right. We are partying here ahead of the Super Bowl. Good stuff here. Oh, Allie Marlowe in Topeka, Kansas. Then and now, that's right. Even the littles know how to cheap. Loving the baby photos. And I'm loving the pet photos also that we continue to get. Thanks, you guys, for showing us your game day spirit here. Really cute outfits there. Continue to send in your photos, please. We love to see them here. I hope you're all enjoying spending this time with us at Live Now from Fox. I've been having the greatest time, specifically because I get to see all these great photos from across the country and the world. A Live Now look out there once again in New Orleans, Louisiana. The rain is pouring. It is coming down. There in the distance, you see the Caesars Superdome. About 30 minutes left until kickoff. So right before the commercial break, and really throughout my time on the desk here with you all, we've been showcasing some of this press that different players and the coaches with both the Chiefs and the Eagles had been doing in the days leading up to the Super Bowl today. We showcased some of the comments and the question and answer portion from the Chiefs head coach, Andy Reid, where he participated in media availability. But of course, we got to show both sides here. So next, we're going to hear from the Eagles head coach, Nick Sirianni. This is what he had to say and how he hopes his team performs today so they can beat the Chiefs.
Throughout the week, you talked about adversity. And during your playing days for the Purple Raiders as a wide receiver, you suffered a severe leg injury, which could have been life-altering. However, you came back to help lead Mountain Union to his third straight national championship. How do you use that, overcoming the adversity? You know, how did that mold you into the person you are today, and how did that create you into the NFL coach you are now?
Yeah, again, embracing adversity is huge, right? And for life, for football, and that, as bad as that injury was and all the stuff I kind of went through with that injury, I can kind of, I see it now of why I had to go through that. It really, a lot of people were there for me at that time, my parents, Coach Karras, my teammates. But now I'm able to use that story that I went through to kind of help players that we have that are going through injuries and share that story, because there's no doubt in my mind it taught me how to endure. It taught me how to, be told I couldn't do something and stand up and like I wasn't supposed to play football again, and figure out a way to, with the help of the trainers and the doctors and again my teammates. So it's really helped me be able to have a story to connect with the guys as far as when they're going through hard times. I think one of the biggest, connecting and being a team, there's so many opportunities to do that in the season, but the time where that the team needs you the most and the players need each other the most are in times of adversity. So looking back on it, as hard as it was for me to go through that at the time, it's really helped shape me who I am and help connect with these guys.
Front row right, Zach Berman. Hey, good morning, Nick. On the night before the game 2 years ago, you changed your plan and opened the floor to the team to speak. Is that the plan again? And that meeting, what do you remember from that night?
We'll see how that goes. We're still talking through that, but that was kind of actually a tradition at Mount Union that we did, and probably we'll see how that is. But just what you got to see is just how much the guys cared about each other. It was the whole conversation was just, when guys would get up there just talking about how much they mean to each other, how they're going to play for each other, all those different things. And again, it's not the best groups of individuals that wins, it's the best teams. And so it was a good moment for our team, and we'll see how that plays out. But remember a lot of things from that, a lot of different guys talking, and that meant it meant a lot, and we'll probably try to recreate that.
Left side, front row.
Hi, Coach, right here.
Hi.
2 years ago, a clip of you went viral from you crying during the national anthem. Can you just talk about your emotion during that moment, and do you anticipate being that emotional again on Sunday?
You never know. It's hard to plan or say, hey, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. First, it was a really good rendition of the national anthem. And I think really why the emotions were there were kind of twofold, as far as just being grateful to be in that moment, and then just to think about and just the thanking God in that moment and the gratitude that I had in that moment, and then also all the work that it took to get to that moment, the injuries, the coming from a player to a coach, and all that, and thinking back on, when we were all, at some point, all of us that are going to be on that field had thought about playing in that game. Or, I think as little kids you think about playing the game. I don't think you ever think about coaching in the game. But I grew up with my dad as a coach, so maybe I did a little bit, but it was more about playing in the game and just being in that moment of something that you thought about your entire life and fantasize about your entire life, for that to become true, it's a grateful moment.
Center aisle, second row, gentlemen.
Coach, you got a good chunk of guys on this team who are Georgia Bulldogs. They've been very key and vital to this defense. Most specifically, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nakobe, and Nolan. Can you just talk about, those group of guys from Georgia and what they mean to this team in defense?
Yeah, Keely's done a lot of good things too, and has really been huge for our special teams. Yeah, obviously their talent speaks for themselves, but they also have this, they've been playing together for multiple years, with the couple years that they've been here together, and then all the years that they had on those great defenses and teams that they had in Georgia under Coach Smart. So you have this connection and of on and off the field that's huge. Like there is a when we drafted Nolan Smith, I remember how excited he was, and one of the first people that he embraced with was Nakobe, who was at his draft day party. So that's so cool, because these guys, again, when you have a relationship with the guys and the guys have a relationship with each other, they'll go a little bit harder because they got a little bit more on the line, and because they don't want to let each other down. And I think that's a big part of it. And some of those friendships that we have on this team are developed, through the year or through the couple years that they've been playing here, but their bond goes back. And I think that's important, and I think that's a huge deal. And yeah, and they can fly around and make plays. They're tough. Coach Smart and his staff have done such a good job of getting good players there and developing them, and then we just try to continue to do the same thing. And so love those guys, a big part of why we're here today.
Far left, Jeff McClain.
Nick, a two-parter. You're one of the more aggressive coaches in the NFL in terms of fourth downs, plus 50 on two-point conversions. Does the Super Bowl and going up against an offense and Patrick Mahomes call for more aggressiveness? And in terms of OT decision-making, does anything from last year influence how you're going to approach that?
As far as your second part of the question, overtime, I mean, we've thought about that, going back to last year. You get ready for that. And so, you think about what you're going to do in those scenarios. Obviously, I won't sit here and say, here's what we'll do in an overtime scenario. But we've been thinking about that since the new rule has come up. And we have our plans and our thoughts for that. As far as the other option, every game's a little bit different. There's different factors that go into how you play the game. The flow of the game plays into it. There's so many things that play into it as far as your decision making in game. And so everything will be accounted for, just like as far as the overtime, and just like we do each and every week. Everything's accounted for. Who you're playing against, who you're playing against offensively, who you're playing against defensively, the plays that you have, the players that you have, the analytic charts, all those different things play into it. And we'll see how the game unfolds.
All right, right side, outside, Brooks.
Nick, I want to ask you about what you've learned about offensive staff transitions. You've done it a couple of different ways, an internal promotion and then an external one. In terms of reaching for success in the system, does it require an external voice as you build, or what have you learned about those two transitions in terms of how you operate?
Yeah, every situation's different. You kind of think about the first one too, like Brian was internal, Kellen was external, but still had relationship with him and knew him from other things. Shane was internal, if you want to go back to that. Right, even though we weren't together prior to it, was coming in together. So every situation's a little bit different. You try to learn from every experience that you have. And yeah, we're not really thinking about anything like that right now. We're thinking and focused about winning this football game. And that's all our thought and focus is on right at this particular moment.
All right, left side.
We're listening there to Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni speaking earlier this week ahead of the big Super Bowl game happening tonight. Taking a live look once again out there in New Orleans, Louisiana, a countdown to kickoff, about 20 minutes left until that. We're stepping away for our first commercial break of this hour. We'll continue with some more of that press briefing featuring the Eagles head coach when we come back.